This is the Vaguely Nerdy Podcast, where every week this brother-sister duo gets together to discuss the box office, latest film and TV scoops, our latest movie or show review, and what we're getting into next. We are your host,
Cheryl,
and Jay.
We finally got to see Longlegs, and we'll find out if I was completely terrified or not. But I'm on deck for trivia, so are you ready? Is your mind prepared for questioning?
Sure.
So Oz Perkins, who's director of Longlegs, had only two people in mind to play the character Longlegs. One was Nicolas Cage, and there was one other person that you have to guess. But let me give you a clue. He's an actor in one of the movies that Longlegs has been compared to. I'll just leave it at that.
Alex Wolff?
What movie was he?
They've been comparing Longlegs to Hereditary.
Okay, but no. So you got the right frame of mind, but
Is this a disgraced actor?
What's Hollywood definition of disgrace?
Is this a nasty person?
No.
Oh.
Okay, no. He's currently still working and getting
Brad Pitt?
jobs. Yes.
As who?
As Longlegs.
No. I don't think so. No.
You know what? Nicolas Cage did the thing, and he played this role perfectly.
Yeah, nobody else could have did
But
this.
I would have been curious if Brad Pitt could have pulled it off.
It's nothing remotely
You don't think he could have pulled it off?
spooky about Brad Pitt.
Well, there's nothing spooky about Nicolas Cage on the
There's plenty
surface.
spooky about Nicolas Cage.
Not in his regular attire and face. You don't think?
I don't think, no.
But Nicolas Cage is also, Renfield wasn't, he was a vampire, but Brad Pitt was also a vampire.
Brad Pitt's not a character actor.
Fair.
I think
there we go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nicolas Cage is a character actor.
Very much, and he can do it.
Disappears into his roles. I think a lot of Brad Pitt's roles are very similar. Like, he's got the F1 movie, and it looks like he's the same guy who was in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood who just decided to race.
Okay.
So
okay. I think they don't say why he wanted to go with Brad Pitt in particular, but that was his other choice. So
it's strange, especially for horror.
Like I said, I think he might have been like, you know what? I wonder if Brad Pitt could like pull off this crazy Looney Tune in my movie. And Brad Pitt was like, I can't. So go with the other guy.
No, the most acting I've ever seen Brad Pitt do is like in Fight Club.
You don't think Interview with the Vampire was?
No, he was dry as plain white toast.
Oh, that's one of his best movies.
It was a good movie, but Brad Pitt was not the standout performance. Tom Cruise was.
I don't disagree with that.
It goes Tom Cruise, Kirsten, and then Brad.
Now you're being shady.
Kirsten was acting much better than Brad.
I need to go watch it again because I'm not gonna confirm or deny that because I ain't seen that movie in years.
Okay,
but he went with the right choice.
Cool.
For sure. Definitely.
Yeah, absolutely. Nicolas Cage was the right choice for this movie.
All right, let's get into our episode.
Welcome, fellow movie buffs. I'm Jay.
I'm Cheryl.
Listen in as we break down movie and TV shows, tell you what's in the plot, and hear if we think you should have watched it when you had the chance.
Dun, dun, dun. Last time I did it, I was way too close and I almost couldn't edit that out.
Okay, we have a pretty good listing here for the show today. We have some Devil Wears Prada news on a reboot of I guess it's a franchise now.
Yeah.
Some Spider-Man Noir news, a hefty trip to the trailer park, and a big scoop of Buncha Crunch. Then we're going to dive into our movie review of the week, which is Longlegs.
All right, so Miranda back, y'all. She coming back. She is going to do a Devil Wears Prada sequel, which nobody saw coming, and of course nobody asked for, but we don't care because this is Devil's Wear Prada. If you have not seen this movie, after you listen to this full episode, please go watch it. It is probably one of my favorite movies, for sure.
Prada may not be as popular anymore, but the devil is.
Okay.
So is Meryl Streep and Emily Blunt. So
give it to me now.
I'm not sure the Prada brand is as strong today as it was when that first movie came out.
I wouldn't know.
This is an interesting choice.
Right. So Meryl Streep and Emily Blunt are confirmed to come back. And I think they're working on Anne Hathaway and Stanley Tucci, but I don't know if that's confirmed or not.
They should change the name to a more popular brand, fashion brand.
I actually don't think they're going to keep this name. I think they're going to play off like Devil wears
Basquiat.
Okay. I was trying to think of something like
Shein.
Right. Right. So this is going to follow. So originally, when you first sent this to me, it said that the roles were going to be Meryl Streep and Hathaway, but it's actually going to be Meryl Streep in her career. She's still doing what she do, but her career is declining. So this is going to force her to face off with Emily Blunt's character, who is now a major executive at a luxury group. Miranda desperately needs her advertising dollars to keep her company afloat. Yeah. So originally, they reported it was going to be Anne Hathaway, and I was like, oh, that's perfect. I like Emily Blunt too. So I liked her character in this movie. So I think it also fits. I just feel like Anne Hathaway's character in that role would have fit a little bit more with this plot.
Yeah. So Meryl Streep is set to return, as well as Emily Blunt. Stanley Tucci and Anne Hathaway are confirmed in talks to return, but they are not confirmed to be in the movie.
Do it, guys.
I think it would be a monumental missed opportunity to not just bring back those 4 people. You only need those 4.
Pay them whatever it costs to get us this sequel.
They do riffs and skits on it quite frequently between Meryl Streep, Anne Hathaway, and Emily Blunt. So they still know each other. They still have a friendly relationship. So.
I think Anne Hathaway recently did an interview where they were talking about all her movies and stuff. She talked about how much she loved doing this movie.
Yeah. And so this movie originally came out in 2006.
Ooh.
It had a budget of $35 to $41 million and a box office of $326 million.
Deserved it.
That was a long time ago. That was almost 10 years ago. So
that was probably like $1 billion back then.
I think that they can get this movie made with the same amount of money.
But they're not, because they're going to have to pay everybody 10 extra million.
I mean...
at least half an extra million.
I think comparable, because when Devil Wears Prada came out, everybody in that movie was a known actor. With the exception of maybe Emily Blunt may have been the smallest out of the bunch. But so everybody was still themselves at that point. I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
So this has the potential to be a huge box office success.
I would see it.
Just don't make it a musical. And I know that's their thing, is to bring
No.
early 2000s classics back as musicals, like they did Mean Girls and stuff. But
please.
No, it doesn't need to be a musical.
Sweet Honey on a Rock. Do not make this a Mean Girls situation.
Literally nothing was wrong with the Devil Wears Prada format, other than Anne Hathaway's sucky friends. But just don't bring them back. Yeah, bring Anne Hathaway back and make her single. Because her boyfriend sucked.
We don't need him back. We don't want him. We don't need him.
He was the worst. So I saw a couple complaints about people don't want to see Miranda Priestley down and out.
We saw her like that in
that ruins the luster of the character.
No, we got to see the real side of Miranda's real life in the movie.
She wasn't down and out. I mean, she was getting her husband didn't love her.
Her love life was down and out, but the rest of her was pristine.
Yeah, so I'm interested to see where it'll go.
I hope it's not a situation where they try to change her personality. Because I want OG
and I think
Miranda. I
think she can still channel that.
Right. I don't need nice girl Miranda. We need OG Miranda for sure.
In talks about changing things, we have some news about Spider-Man Noir.
Speaking of Nicolas Cage.
So this is a Spider-Man animated. Well, is it animated or live action?
I think it's animated. Because Nicolas Cage was talking about how he was afraid of AI and he had to get scanned for this. I'm 99% sure it's animated.
No, so it is going to be a live action television
I'm
series?
0% sure this is animated.
I think it was originally going to be animated.
Probably for CGI. Okay.
I think it was originally going to be animated, but it's going to be a live action series for Amazon. And a big controversial point is that they are... So Spider-Man Noir is Peter Parker.
Yes.
He's just Peter Parker in a different universe.
He's a detective. He's a PI, right?
Right. He's a Peter Parker in a universe where it's the New York. It's still the Great Depression, and he becomes Spider-Man during New York during the Great Depression.
Okay, so it's a back in the day situation.
Yes.
Okay,
but they've changed it in this show where he's no longer Peter Parker. He's Ben Reilly, which is a completely different Spider-Man.
Oh, I missed that in the readings.
Yeah, so they changed his name. He's not going to be Peter Parker, even though... So it's very confusing because...
Do they want people to watch this or not? What are they doing?
In Spider-Verse, Nicolas Cage plays Spider-Noir.
Yes.
And in Spider-Verse, he's still Peter Parker. He's just a different universe Peter Parker.
Right, they're all Peter Parker.
This is not going to be... So this isn't going to be the adventures of the Spider-Noir character from Spider-Verse. This is yet another separate adaptation of Spider-Noir that has nothing to do with the Spider-Noir in Spider-Verse that's played by the same exact actor. This is a completely different universe Spider-Man. Because
why, Amazon? Why?
Apparently... Sony doesn't have TV rights to Spider-Noir.
I was going to say, is this got something to do with who got the rights to what?
So they don't have they have film rights to Spider-Noir. Okay. They don't have TV rights to Spider-Noir. So they can't use Peter Parker in the TV show.
That stuff gets so confusing.
Very stupid.
So confusing.
For context, Ben Reilly is a clone of Spider-Man that exists in the same universe as Peter Parker. Ben Reilly is... I can't remember who exactly did it. I feel like it was Osborn, but I might be incorrect on that. But basically, an evil villain cloned Peter Parker to make an evil version of Peter Parker. But it didn't work because you can't make an evil version of Peter Parker. There's no part of Peter Parker that's evil. So he becomes a clone named Ben Reilly, who takes his... He has the last name Riley, but he takes the name Ben for Peter Parker's uncle Ben.
Even though that wasn't his uncle.
Yeah, and he has a completely separate life. In Spider-Verse, Ben Reilly was the super depressed Spider-Man that was in the rain, that was monologuing to himself. That's Ben Reilly.
Okay, so they're adapting that for this show.
Yeah, so
interesting choice.
Interesting change of direction. It's still going to be on Amazon. We'll have 8 episodes. We're not sure if they're going to be an hour or half an hour, but they should probably just be an hour.
I would say
if it's a live action.
45 minutes ish.
And Nicolas Cage.
Right.
So we have 2 additional castings for the show. Lamorne Norris, who's from The New Girl, and from season 5 of Fargo, which I hear is really good. He'll be playing Robbie Robertson in this show. I'm not familiar with the character, but I think he's a
black guy who's like the newsroom. He's like a reporter or something.
Okay, so he's like
J. Jonah Jameson, I think, of this.
Or is he like the Lois Lane?
Oh, maybe.
Is he like his superhero's best friend who also works in the news?
Maybe. Somebody gonna tell us when they be like, y'all are so wrong. Just let us know, guys, in the comments.
Brandon Gleeson. It's funny that you put Lake Placid as the reference.
Because that is his best movie, sir. That is his best movie. I don't care what anybody says.
He was in 28 Days Later.
Okay, I ain't seen that. But I've seen Lake Placid 1,200 times.
And he was Mad-Eye Moody in Harry Potter.
Oh,
Brandon Gleeson has been casted to play an unnamed villain in the show, which is good. So
yeah. And if you don't recognize the name Brendan Gleeson, just Google it. You're going to be like, oh, yes, I know him from everything, especially Lake Placid.
I really want to see a trailer for the show because it's live action. Is it supposed to be animated action-y? Like, is all the action scenes of Nicolas Cage going to be like CGI? Well, I guess he wears a mask.
I mean, he could do it.
Yeah.
Or they can get a body double to do it.
Yeah.
They'll be fine. They'll figure it out.
Very
interesting. I could have sworn it was animated, though, so there's that.
Well, that is all the movie news we have for this week. Let's take a roll into the trailer park.
Toot. R.I.P.
Okay, so first trailer we have is an epic one. This is for Gladiator II.
So excited.
This is the sequel to Gladiator.
So excited.
Ridley Scott is returning to direct it after sweeping the Oscars when Gladiator 1 came out.
He sure did.
So this is going to star Paul Mescal, Pedro Pascal. Connie Nielsen will be returning.
Wait a minute. Them names too close. Go ahead. I just realized Pascal and Mascal. Oh, they gonna do something with that. Go ahead.
Connie Nielsen will be returning from her role in Gladiator 1. She will also be joined by Denzel Washington. Joseph Quinn.
Yep, we like him.
Fred Hershinger.
I don't know who that is.
And Derek Jacobi.
I don't know who that is either.
There are going to be some new faces in this one. So the returning characters is just Connie Nielsen. She was the only person who her and her son,
right?
Lucilla and her son Lucius.
No, yes, Lucius was the son.
Yes, were the only two who pretty much lived from the last Gladiator movie. Russell Crowe died. He killed Joaquin Phoenix. Jaimin Hansu, but he's not coming back, and that's fine.
That we know of.
He gets to have his happy ending, so hopefully Jaimin Hansu doesn't show
You're
back
right.
up.
Actually, you know what? I hope he's somewhere farming.
Hopefully he
and doing
doesn't
fine.
show back up and never
right.
has to see any of this mess again.
Right. Yeah.
So what this is, essentially, at the end of Gladiator, Connie Nielsen took her and her son. They fled after Joaquin Phoenix was murdered. And this happens 2 decades, so 20 years later.
Yes.
Connie Nielsen and Lucius have separated.
Somehow.
It says
know.
It says that Lucius. So essentially, the plot synopsis and premise says that Lucius ran away.
But why? From his mama.
Because Connie Nielsen is with Pedro Pascal.
Oh, are they a couple in that? Because Pedro Pascal is obviously a commander. He's like an army general in this.
It says that they're associates.
Okay, interesting.
So apparently Lucius ran away because Connie Nielsen got back into it with the Roman generals.
She wasn't trying to live no normal life.
And Lucius didn't, after seeing what happened to Russell Crowe, Lucius didn't want that life. So he ran away, joined a village, and started a farm.
Just roaming.
With the family and
like
kids.
Moses. He just turned into Moses, essentially.
Just like Russell Crowe. And
I like Moses better.
he gets picked up just like Russell Crowe did and thrown in the Gladiator ring.
Now you called it. You said this is just like Gladiator 1, and
it's a requel.
You are correct. This movie looks like Gladiator 1, and I ain't mad about it. With some Denzel Washington this time and more crazy looking gladiator Coliseum fights.
So as soon as I saw this trailer and I saw the synopsis, I was like, this is a requel. And I'll add the audio, a clip of the audio in the podcast. But essentially, requel was a phrase that was coined by Mindy Meeks in Scream 5, I believe the 2022
it was
reboot
the fifth one.
of the franchise, where she gives every Scream movie, they give the breakdown of how to survive a horror movie and the horror movie rules. But in Scream 5, Mindy talks about requels, how you make a requel, which is technically a sequel to a film,
right?
But instead of telling a different story, you're telling the exact same story
with different
all over again,
people, right?
With different people who are connected to the original characters.
Okay, well, this is that. Yes.
Oh my God, he's making a requel. A what? Or a legacy-quel. Fans are torn on the terminology.
God, please speak English.
Come on, it's just a movie. No, it's not. To some people, the original is their favorite thing in the world. The movie that made them love horror, that mom or dad showed them when they were 10, that bonded them together. And God help anyone who's slightly with that special memory, who makes a movie they think disrespects it. See, you can't just reboot a franchise from scratch anymore. The fans won't stand for it. Black Christmas, Child's Play, Flatliners, that doesn't work. But you can't just do a straight sequel either. You gotta build something new, but not too new, or the internet goes bug nuts. It's gotta be part of an ongoing storyline, even if the story shouldn't have been ongoing in the first place. New main characters, yes, but supported by and related to legacy characters. Not quite a reboot, not quite a sequel, like the new Halloween, Saw, Terminator, Jurassic Park, Ghostbusters, even Star Wars. It always goes back to the original.
Yeah.
Yes, this is
and
that
she
movie.
gives a very passionate speech talking about how you have to be very careful when making requels, because typically you're making a requel based on a film that's beloved by fans who are very rabid about it. And it's like their favorite movie of all time. It's what got them to love cinema in the first place. And I think all of that is very true about Gladiator.
I am people. I love this movie.
This is the exact same movie. It's the exact same movie.
It looked good though. It looked good.
It takes use of better CGI.
It's got the advancement of the technology for sure.
Better technology, absolutely. Because they have better technology, they can depict more than just the Colosseum battles. So,
yes, they've turned it up a notch in terms of what they're going to do in that Coliseum for sure.
And other than Denzel Washington, most of this is all historically accurate. So the Coliseum battles.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
This Ridley Scott we're talking about. Who did Napoleon?
You think Denzel Washington is accurate?
No, I'm saying, do you think everything else is?
Yeah. I actually looked this up.
Okay.
And that's why I tell people when you watch this trailer, don't Google the characters or the cast
you
list.
did say that.
What he does stick to really, Scott, with Gladiator is the characters are real. They may not be 100 one-to-one depictions, but the people are real.
Correct.
And their deaths are pretty similar to how they die in the movie.
In Gladiator 1.
Yes.
Okay.
So that's why I was like, don't Google it, because even Joaquin Phoenix's death, he didn't die
the way
Russell Crowe didn't kill him, but he died pretty much the exact same way. He was assassinated by a wrestler.
Okay. So kinda.
So it's very loosely based on that. So
and you know what? I'm pretty sure I could guess the ending of this movie and who gonna make it and who doesn't, and I'm gonna be surprised if anybody actually does.
I'll be surprised if Connie Nielsen makes it.
I'll be surprised if anybody,
because technically
makes it
Connie
out of
Nielsen's
this movie.
character was supposed to die in the first one.
Well, because the person who she actually is, I believe, was killed like in exile or something.
So Joaquin Phoenix ordered her execution.
Yes,
because
correct.
They did 2 assassination attempts on him. The first one failed, and he found out she was behind it, so then he killed her.
So he got his lick back.
In the movie, I think the only attempt to kill him was
in the Coliseum.
Maximus.
Okay.
So.
Okay. I mean, I'm not here for the ending of this movie. I'm here from everything else before that.
So Paul Mescal is playing a grown-up Lucius who's in the Gladiator ring. He's going to be taking the role of Russell Crowe.
Yep.
Pedro Pascal's character is a little complex.
Kind of newish.
So
I guess,
he's a Roman general who's working with Lucilla.
Okay.
But I think he's an antagonist for Lucius, but I don't think he's the bad guy.
I picked that up.
Because in the trailer, we get some scenes with new characters, Joseph Quinn and Fred Hershinger.
Who are Caesars?
No.
What are their official titles?
So they are both brothers.
Okay.
They're siblings.
Okay.
And dual emperors. So
Emperor, that was the name I was looking for.
Apparently quite frequently during this time, after the time of Commodus, who was Joaquin Phoenix.
Right.
After the time of him, it was quite frequent that 2 people would be emperors at the same time, especially if they were related.
Okay. Just in case something happened.
So apparently they're twisted brothers. They're not all the way there.
They look like they twisted in this trailer.
They're both kind of like Joffrey from Game of Thrones.
They look like they don't even look right in the head based on the wigs they got on.
They're described as damaged goods from birth, which, I mean, when you consider like
how they look,
all of like the incest and stuff that took place back then, that's not surprising.
Some screws look a little loose.
Yeah, and the inbreeding, especially with people who were like in line to the throne.
Right.
So they're going to be the actual villains.
I picked that up from the trailer. Pedro seemed like he trying to like do good, but he's putting maybe these awkward, not so great situations. But I didn't take that he was the villain in this movie.
So yeah, apparently everybody in the movie basically has to just like perform for Joseph Quinn and Fred Hershinger,
the brothers,
Geta and Caracalla.
Sure.
Caracalla, I think.
And Denzel Washington is trying to get rid of them both, is what I take from it.
Yeah, so Denzel Washington plays Macrinus, who is an actual person who's in history, who I'm not going to spoil what happens or where Macrinus ends up after all of this, but his whole plan is basically to overthrow the brothers. Okay. Because they're no good.
Of course.
Yeah. So his plan is to overthrow the brothers. Nobody's technically good, especially anybody who's at the race for power. The only person we know is good is probably Paul Mescal.
Yeah, I was going to say, and not even his mama.
Slaves are typically good by default. So.
Right.
Yeah.
Till they get to a position of power, then, you know.
So the trailer, we see a whole bunch of Coliseum battles. It looks like there's going to be a rhino battle. No lion battle this time.
That we know of so far.
They traded out some of the probably the lion battle for what looks like they're doing boat battles.
So water, yes.
A water battle, which is historically accurate.
I did see that.
It looks like there's going to be
chaos.
Some chaos on a boat.
Yeah.
And it looks like they put sharks in the water. So if you fall in the water, you get eaten by sharks.
A previous article way back mentioned something about sharks. And I was like, where are they putting sharks? But now that I've seen the trailer, I see how they made this work.
It's going to be sandy. It's going to be bloody. It's going to have it's going to have that desert yellow filter over the lens.
It looks very
super saturated and summery and hot.
Everybody looks super saturated. Their skin just looks so freshly toned.
Everybody looks a little filthy because bathing wasn't really that big back then if you weren't like rich.
Yeah, except Denzel, he looked good.
But it looks good. The character posters look amazing. Costuming looks great. I'm very excited for this.
I just hope the plots and the stories. Yeah, because that Napoleon didn't do it for me. So let's just leave that in the background and start afresh.
I think it's pretty much going to be the exact same as the first movie.
Sure,
just
I'll take
with
it.
Newer characters. They're going to switch the Sidney Prescott with the Sam Carpenter. And it's going to be the same thing.
2 tickets, please.
Lots of callbacks, I'm sure.
Yeah.
This is going to have a budget of $250 million, which I'm sure it'll clear.
Whew.
One thing about Napoleon, it wasn't that great, but it cleared its budget. So.
I think it did. Yeah. Well, you got to consider marketing. So this probably need to make at least like 800 million. Yeah. Which it probably, I mean, we'll see. It's opening up on a holiday weekend. Yeah. So it might be all right.
It's set to release in the U.S. on the 22nd, and it's going to release a week later in the UK. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep. It's opening. It's going to be Wickednator. I'm just going to call it Wickednator.
Yikes.
Since it's opening up with Wicked.
Next stop in the trailer park we have is F1. This is another racing movie in the vein of Gran Turismo, which just came out with Djimon Hounsou. Speaking of which, I think last year.
Sure.
Was that last year?
It felt like it was so long ago, but it probably was last August. I think it was last August.
So F1, this movie is going to be directed by Joseph Kosinski. This is the same director who did Tron Legacy, Oblivion, which is one of our favorite films. It's Tom Cruise.
Yeah.
Only Brave, Top Gun Maverick, which made $1 billion.
It did. I didn't see it, but y'all liked it.
And he's done a couple commercials as well. It's going to star Brad Pitt and Damson Idris and Carrie Condon.
Javier Bardem is also in this one.
Javier Bardem is going to be in this as well. Yes. It looks like Gran Turismo. It looks less interesting than Gran Turismo, and it's just the trailer. The trailer is boring.
Yeah, I was gonna say
the trailer is literally just boring.
I'm not so.
There's nothing interesting that happens.
Midway through the trailer, it's only maybe a couple minutes. They start playing "We Will Rock You," and I was like, "What is this? Why are we playing this song during the rest of the movie?"
Yeah, so premise,
it don't even fit.
Brad Pitt is playing a character named Sonny Hayes, who is a Formula One driver who raced in the 90s and had to retire because he had a really terrible crash. Of course, a friend from his past, who's a Formula One team owner, Javier Bardem, contacts him and asks him to come out of retirement to mentor a rookie, which is Damson Idris. So excited for Damson Idris.
Yes.
For Brad Pitt doesn't have any trouble getting work in Hollywood. He's like old Hollywood, so he can breathe and land in a role. This is just another day on the job for Brad Pitt, I'm sure.
Yes.
Big ups to Damson Idris, though. He has potential to pick up off of some Brad Pitt clout for this.
Sure. I'm all about that.
Yeah, and be in more blockbusters. Also excited that the music is going to be behind Zimmer, so the music we know will be very good. I think this is the one that is going to be like $300 million.
You are correct.
$30 million of that is just for Brad Pitt.
Oh, of course.
Yes.
That doesn't surprise me at all.
He was paid $30 million just for his involvement in the film, which is crazy because $30 million is like the budget of like a
horror movie.
They could have made this for $30 million.
Hello? This is the budget of Devil Wears Prada 2.
So the trailer, unfortunately, didn't give us much to look at. It's just Brad Pitt having a conversation with Carrie Condon that's very confusing. Then clips of him in a
lot of cars
going in a circle.
I think the Ferrari trailer was actually more interesting than this.
The Ford versus Ferrari trailer looked glamorous.
Not even. Sorry, I misspoke. I meant just Ferrari with Adam Driver.
Oh, just Ferrari. Yeah, I mean that was more of like a biopic.
Okay,
about a real person. It kind of looked glamorous. This just looks like watching a race. And here's the thing: I think Gran Turismo did good for itself, but and as a
box office hit,
I don't think it made as much as they wanted it to make. But it didn't meet projections.
Yeah, but this Brad Pitt, and they also, I think, banking on the popularity of Top Gun Maverick to push this for sure.
The thing about Top Gun is that Top Gun Maverick was successful because it's also like Air Force propaganda. So that's like the number one way to like make a successful war movie is to like showcase the military like
doing a lot of great things.
And that's like the military branch of government has like the biggest fan base in the world. So
you
that's
ain't
why
wrong.
Top Gun Maverick was so successful.
I mean, that's why all these superhero movies that are like, and
it's patriotic. And
exactly.
There's nothing patriotic about this. I mean,
people seemed excited. I was just like,
and I don't think Brad Pitt is selling tickets as well as he used to.
It hasn't been anything huge lately.
Bullet Train was a flop.
I still have not seen that either.
Yeah, Bullet Train had a budget of $90 million and a box office of $239 million, which is extremely low considering that cast.
I was gonna say it was a lot of people.
That
in that
amount
movie.
of visual effects.
Yeah, I don't know about this one. We'll see. It's a summer movie, so I think they're probably gonna release it on like 4th of July weekend or something. If I had to bet money and try to coast the holiday weekend.
So currently it's slated for a release date in the U.S. of June 27th. So, I mean, it will hit it'll hit 4th of July in like its second or third week.
You know what? I think Fantastic Four comes out like 2 weeks later, so they probably are not going to move it. No, yeah, they're not. Never mind. They probably should actually move that up.
I don't think this is going to be that much of a hit.
I don't think it is either.
It might be an awards contender, if anything.
Sure, Hans Zimmer will probably get nominated.
Yes. And hopefully Damson for Best Supporting Actor.
Sure, I'm up for that as well.
Next up on the trailer park is Severance. This is barely a trailer. It's mostly just like an ad.
It is an ad for a premiere date, and that is it, because it's like 30 seconds long.
Yes, so Severance, if you don't know, is an Apple TV Plus show. Its premise is basically a corporation called Lumen has created this implant that you can put in your brain that separates your personality between in work and out of work. So when you're in work, you're a completely different person who has no memories or recollection of what it's like to be outside of the workplace.
None.
And when you're out of work, as soon as you clock out, you lose all of your memories of the workday. And the point of this was that it was believed to create a more productive and a more productive work environment and a healthier personal life if you could separate work from your personal life.
You separate your innie versus your outie.
Right. So this show stars Adam Scott, Zach Cherry, Britt Lower, Tremel Tillman, Jen Tulloch, and John Turturro. Also Patricia Arquette.
Oh, yes. Oh, good. Yes, she is crazy. Definitely. Y'all got time because it doesn't come out until January 17th of next year. Womp, womp, womp. But that gives you plenty of time to watch the first season. It is so good.
It's very good.
It is. You will probably try to binge the whole thing from the very first episode.
Yeah. So some notes for Severance.
And it won a Peabody Award.
It won a Peabody Award.
That was your first note.
It received 14 nominations at the 74th Primetime Emmy Awards, including Outstanding Drama Series and acting nominations for Adam Scott, Turturro, Walken, and Patricia Arquette.
Oh.
It did win for the main title design and musical score at the Primetime Emmys.
That ain't enough.
And it was renewed for season 2 in April of 2022.
Okay.
So it's been almost, it'll
be 2.5 years.
A little over 2 years, yeah.
That's crazy.
Yep.
Well, they got impacted by the strikes. So, and I think
did get impacted by the strikes.
Also Ben Stiller's behind this show.
Yeah.
I think he's like a producer or something.
Yeah, he's the executive producer.
Okay,
of the show.
right. And I think there was something going on behind the scenes of them getting started. But we are here now. It's coming out. Go watch it so you can be caught up because we are most definitely talking about this on the podcast.
Yeah, Severance is like one of
I'm trying to convince Jad to do a week-to-week situation, but I don't know if he's going to be down for that.
I don't know if I'm going to be down to do a week-to-week. But
I got time to work on them, y'all. I got time to work on them.
Absolutely anticipating for the premiere of this show and to dive back into it. I think I'm not going to rewatch the first season, but I may rewatch that last episode because it's been 2 years.
Yeah.
So I need to make sure I don't miss any loose threads when they pick up.
Listen, I think you started this and then you were done in like 3 days.
Yeah, I couldn't put it down.
And then I started it and I was done in like 3 days because y'all wouldn't let me not watch it. I was like, I'm trying to catch up, y'all. So yeah.
This is going to be premiering on January 17th, 2025. So get excited now because you're going to be waiting for about 6 more months.
Right. I guess you can take it slow if you need to.
All right, we're going to pull over, and our next stop at the trailer park is going to be Watchmen.
Why you say pull over?
Chapter 1, because there's not much to say about
this one. It's a pit stop.
So
get some snacks for a second.
This is basically another ad, I would say, for most likely an ad for purchasing it on digital when it comes out on digital.
Strange.
So Watchmen Chapter 1 is going to be the first part of a 2-chapter series of films.
Right, it's a full movie, not a show.
And it's going to be an animated adaptation of the Watchmen comic book.
Which looks like
But it looks like an adaptation of the film.
Literally looks like the movie, y'all.
Yeah. And the thing about Watchmen is that
Nice animation, though.
I mean, there's more than one Watchmen storyline, but this is the big one.
Okay.
This is the best written one. So you're starting to tell the same story over and over again. It's starting to look the same.
It looks like the plot of the movie. I can't even give an alternative of what it reminds me of.
And the thing about like when every time they make another Spider-Man, they make it current. So Spider-Man looks, even though you're watching the same origin story for the same superhero, the time changes.
They do,
and the references change.
They do modernize it to it be today.
Watchmen is stuck in an alternate universe in the past, so it looks the same every time they re-adaptate this. Yeah,
I don't know why.
Yeah,
like I don't know what the audience is if they were going to do something different. So that's interesting. And like you said, it's releasing on digital. They're just kind of like, hey guys, go buy this. And you're like, but why?
Yeah. So this releases on digital on August 13th. I believe it's going to HBO Max though.
Sure.
So if you have HBO Max, you should be able to stream it unless that has changed. I know they're changing some of their stuff where they don't want to put it on Max anymore because HBO Original is suffering.
Surprise.
I think HBO in general is suffering.
They should have just left it alone, but I don't make these decisions.
But that's all we got to say about Watchmen. They didn't really give us much. It looks like somebody took the Watchmen movie from Zack Snyder, ran it through a program to make it look like What If, and then
it does look like What If. I mean, no shade to the animators. It looks good, but it looks like the movie.
It looks like the movie. It looks like a What If-ified version of the movie.
Yeah, if you guys watch it, let us know.
Yeah, and none of the live action, other than the show,
the
Regina
TV,
King,
right, which was not
original.
Right.
Every time they make this, it bombs.
Yeah,
I don't think there's an interest for this
who
anymore.
They're using this for.
I don't think there's an interest for the Watchmen anymore.
Very interesting choice.
Yeah. And we have like DC is back on the rise.
It's trying.
Marvel is picking itself back up by the bootstraps.
They also trying.
I don't think there's space for this anymore.
It's very
and The Boys.
It's feeling niche.
The Boys is doing what The Watchmen is doing, but more gross and more modern.
And we also have like Invincible. So.
Yes, and we have we have better animation. We have X-Men 97.
We got X-Men 97.
So, I don't know what this was for. We were just having a conversation about we think WB is strapped for cash. They should stop spending it on stuff like this.
They need to cut Homeboy's salary, and they could have a lot more money to do things. But
all right, pit stop over. back on the trail.
We're back on the road.
So the next trailer we have is for Agatha All Along. This was good. I was excited about this trailer. It looks funny and campy.
It does.
It looks like a better version of Hocus Pocus.
Oh, that's interesting to say.
A better version of Hocus Pocus 2.
Okay.
I was waiting for Hocus Pocus 2 to be better than it turned out to be.
You know what? That is funny. I saw a tweet where somebody, Bette Midler, said that she was wanting Disney to do Hocus Pocus 3. And she was kind of telling them, like, where's the script? Let's get a script. Let's go. And I was like, somebody tweeted and said, Hocus Pocus 2 came out and went, and ain't nobody thought about it. So I'm pretty sure nobody checking for the third one.
So this is Agatha All Along. This is going to pick up with Agatha Harkness after she was left in Westview under Scarlet Witch's spell.
She tweaking, y'all. She tweaking.
Where she was forced to stay in Westview and live out her
whatever
life
Wanda,
as like a normal Westview person.
Whatever Wanda decided to leave her to do, which is apparently to be a detective.
Yeah. So Wanda is dead. For all intents and purposes, as we know of, after Multiverse of Madness. Agatha Harkness is still stuck in her spell. And I thought this was an interesting analysis. So the trailer shows Agatha playing a detective.
Yep.
It looks a little Alan Wake 2-ish.
A little bit.
She's traveling to the forest to investigate a crime scene. At the crime scene, they find a dead body of a woman face down.
We don't see face.
With no shoes. And she's got black fingertips.
Kind
of like how Wanda ended up after she had opened the Darkhold. Kind of like how Agatha ended up after she had
when they get the little chaos magic, the fingertips look a little gross.
And an interesting analysis somebody made was that this is Wanda's death manifesting itself in the spell.
What do you mean?
And that's how Agatha is able to break out. So because Wanda died outside the spell, and this is her spell basically warping
falling
because
apart.
The person who casted it died. Right.
Wink,
So this
wink.
is how Agatha knows that Wanda's dead, because her death manifested herself in the spell.
I like that. I like that theory. I'm following. I'm liking what they putting down.
So we get a scene of Agatha looking at the toe tag of the dead body, which is interesting. If you look at the toe tag, it's not a toe tag. It says Westview Public Library on it.
And it's got dates along the card.
And it's got dates. Nobody's broken down what the dates mean yet. If the dates are
so you go to
anything.
an old school library, it would have like all the dates that somebody checked out the book, and it would have like stamps of the dates. Mm-hmm. There's dates but no stamps.
And toe tags don't have multiple dates. Toe tags just have the name of the person, their death, and maybe the cause,
right?
And like stats.
I thought that was
interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe there's a purpose for that. Hopefully.
Right. And it has to be because Wanda Maximoff's names appears on the kind of like a magical script.
W. Maximoff appears on
right.
it. So that is another thing that might mean something, because Wanda has a child named Billy.
She had 2 kids.
And William is the long form version of Billy. Oh. And we know that Wanda's kids died, quote unquote,
wink,
after
wink.
her spell over Westview. And we know the lore of her children is that after they die, their souls go and inhabit the body of another teen.
Dude, if that body moving is in this show, I'm gonna be done for.
So there's been rumors that because people were confused about in the comics, her kids' souls split off and take over the bodies of 2 other teens.
Yes.
And the teens they take over essentially just stop existing. Mm-hmm. And there was controversy like, how are you going to show that in a show?
The Wonder Woman situation all over again.
Right. So the rumor was that instead their souls will split off and inhabit the bodies of 2 already dead teens. And because the corpse that Agatha finds in the forest is face down, the speculation is that it's actually Billy's dead body, or the dead body of whoever Billy used to be.
All right, it does say W and not Wanda.
Mm-hmm. It says W. It's very interesting. And also...
we all just assumed.
So we get the scene where the name appears on the toe tag, and then Aubrey Plaza appears.
Right.
And who's another witch.
Mm-hmm. We got a whole bunch of witches in this one.
A witch who apparently has a past with Agatha.
Okay.
And she tells Agatha you're trapped in a spell. She does the Inception thing where she's like, you're dreaming, you need to break out. So
she does that mean where she's like, wake up.
We get a clip of Agatha trying to break out of the spell by jumping between different time periods in Westview, the black and white era, all the time periods that we saw in WandaVision.
All her different little outfits.
And when Agatha finally shows back up and realizes who she is, you notice the feet on the table are clean.
Jesus, I need to go back and watch
So, yeah, you have to go back and watch the trailer.
And I watched this twice, by the way.
So the feet on the table with the toe tag are no longer dirty, they're clean.
So okay. So who's the kid in this is...
This would be Wiccan, which is the child, the twin that has Scarlet Witch's powers.
So not Billy.
Billy is Wiccan.
So is she gonna
Tommy is Speed, who's the one who has Quicksilver.
She gonna wake up that dead body, and that's gonna be that little boy.
Yeah, I think that's gonna be Billy.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah. So
I need to go back and watch the show.
The rest of the show we have is essentially clips of Agatha and the rest of the cast. So we have Katherine Hahn returning as Agatha. We have Joe Locke, who will be playing Billy. We have Aubrey Plaza, who will be playing Rio, who's not a comic book character. She was made up for the show.
Okay.
And we have extensive cast of other witches. So we have Shashir Zamata, Ali An, Maria Dazia, and we have Okui Akpowasili. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. That is a Nigerian actor.
We mean where?
And Deborah Jo Rupp, who is from That 70s Show. She plays Kate.
Yep. She's in the trailer for this.
And Patti LuPone from being Patti LuPone.
Yep, she is also in the trailer.
So
I guess they showed pretty much everybody that you just named.
So all of these women and actors are supposed to be playing different witches with different powers.
Right.
Agatha Harkness is mostly like a regular witch, but I think she's kind of a succubus.
Well, isn't each witch supposed to represent like an animal? Have like an animal, or was that a rumor? Somebody made that up.
Each witch is supposed to represent a different element of witchcraft.
Okay, I like that actually better.
For example,
than animals.
Aubrey Plaza's character is a green witch, so her witchcraft is supposed to come from nature.
Okay. Or she's Loki. No, I'm just playing.
Or she's Loki. Funny.
Don't tempt me.
But yeah, all of them are supposed to have like different type of witchy powers and they have different color schemes and stuff that.
Okay, so it's witch powers. I thought somebody was saying previously, they were like, oh, they all represent like a different animal of some sort. Okay.
So Agatha lost her powers and she's gathering up all of these witches.
A coven of witches.
To create her own coven of witches so they can travel down the witches' road and read. So the point of the witches' road is you travel the witches' road. It's only for witches. And at the end of the road, you get the thing you're looking for. It's kind of like the yellow brick road. You get to the end of the road, and the end of the road gives you what you're looking for.
So all season, we're going to be like, who is at the end of this road?
So Agatha is...
Call me Wanda, y'all.
Agatha is clearly looking for... Well, it's who you're looking for. So Agatha is clearly just looking for her powers.
Okay.
So if you travel the witches' road, you can also get your powers back.
Right, I got that from the trailer.
So quick sidebar for witches' road lore.
What?
Witches Road is...
Say that 3 times fast.
Witches Road. It's a parallel universe that is essentially a road. You walk it, and it's a bridge between all these different types of dimensions. And it is supposed to be like a trial. You travel the road.
Oh, yeah.
You overcome all the obstacles it
on your way.
And then you get to the end and you get your reward.
So it is literally the yellow brick road.
Yes. The thing about the Witches Road, though, is that it kind of like the TVA, it exists outside of time. So you could be on the Witches Road. You have the same sense of time, but you will be gone from the real world for like seconds. But you could be walking the Witches Road for what feels like thousands of years.
Okay.
Or decades. As long as it takes for you to get to what you are looking for, it's how long you can end up on the Witches Road.
Is she going to end up at the end of the road and she'll be like, how did I end up in a Fantastic Four house?
So, which is interesting. So I think Agatha is looking for her powers.
Right.
I'm not sure what the other witches are looking for, but I think they're just going to be there to assist her.
Right.
And I think Billy is looking for Wanda.
Yes.
Because you would want to look for the witch who created you.
And I don't think he's going to tell her that up front.
No, I don't think she's going to. Well, you know what?
Can she read minds?
I think she might know that up front.
She want to get her lick back.
Yes, I think she's gonna use him.
Okay, you think
to get her powers back, and then she's gonna use him to find what Wanda is to get her lick back.
I like the sound of this. Like the sound of this. It looks spooky. It is not a. It's got some horror elements to it. It's not like a Hawkeye or Echo. It's definitely witchy.
Yeah.
Spooky.
It has demons in it. It looks like
it's got some contorting bodies.
Some Evil Dead like body contortion.
Y'all know me. I'll be like, ooh, what is that?
It looks like there's gonna be like another coven of witches that are like wearing all black and like have these gold face masks on. That might be like villains for the show as well. That she might have to go up
right because you got to have like a main villain of some sort. Plot, villain plot.
But it looks fun. It looks like it's a get the gang together type of movie.
I like those.
We're going to gather these witches up. We're going to travel the witches' road. We're going to fight stuff on the road, and then we're going to fight like this other evil looking coven of either witches or witch killers.
Something. But it's funny because Agatha's not like a good person. So I'm curious of what her end game about to be.
She's an anti-hero.
Right, exactly.
I also think a lot of it has to do with the Darkhold. The Darkhold warps you. Once you open it. I find it interesting that she got away kind of scot-free from the Darkhold. Because the Darkhold is supposed to take something from you.
But isn't Agatha supposed to originally like super powerful and she can like beat that sort of thing?
No, so the Darkhold is always supposed to leave a mark. Okay. It's like a Horcrux.
Well, maybe
you can't beat a Horcrux. I mean, you can destroy it, but every time you touch it, it's going to take.
It's going to jack. It's going to take a little piece, and maybe we just haven't seen what that is yet.
Maybe we know Doctor Strange got a weird third eye.
Oh, it looks great.
Wanda lost it. Completely.
She just wanted her kids back. She just wanted her kids back, y'all.
So I wonder what Agatha lost when she took the Darkhold. Because it's supposed to... And I wonder if the Darkhold will show up. Well, no, because Wanda destroyed all the Darkholds in every universe.
Technically. Wink, wink.
Right.
I'm curious of... I already want to know, like, I want to see the show, but I already want to know where this is going to lead. Like, they're not going to just be like, oh, this is it, y'all. We're done. Thanks for watching.
So this is going to be directed by Jack Schaefer. Familiar, same director for WandaVision.
Plus.
I think what is going to have to happen is they have to stick the landing.
Oh, yeah. That's what all these shows.
That was the big issue. That's kind of like the big issue with all of the MCU shows.
Yes, the ending is... And I haven't had a big issue with any of the endings, honestly. I was fine with WandaVision's ending. I had no issues with it. People were like, but right, the ending, you can have a great show, but if the series or season finale is not good, it just spoils the rest of the experience.
And you have to follow through on something.
Yeah, that's I don't think this is this might be a one series show, but I don't think this is the end, whatever the end is.
Yeah, absolutely not.
Yeah. So it comes out September 18th. We get 2 episode premiere, and I think the season finale will be the week of Halloween, which is just like literally perfect timing.
Yeah, spooky season. Absolutely perfect.
Smart. Somebody was over there thinking this time.
It's the witching hour.
Exactly.
Last stop on the trailer park, and this is a good one. So we have finally a trailer for Captain America Brave New World. So this was funny. This trailer came out yesterday.
Yes.
Which was Friday.
Correct.
Thursday, some scooper had leaked that the trailer would be coming out Thursday. So the whole...
Before Thursday, because you were like... Some people think it's coming, or no, I saw it first that people said it was coming out next week. And then you were like, apparently people think the trailer dropping in an hour. And I was like, what?
Yeah, so for half the day, Thursday, Captain America Brave New World hashtag was trending with no trailer.
No trailer.
No new information or anything, just speculation.
Nothing.
And that was the rumor. It was going to come out at some point Thursday. It never came out on Thursday.
Thursday came and went.
It ended up coming out Friday morning.
To our surprise.
So, which I'm sure Marvel did on purpose to make all the scoopers look like idiots. Like, y'all are not going to tell us when we're going to put something out.
No way that wasn't intentional. I won't believe it.
It made everybody who was a scooper who boasted about it coming out look like an idiot.
It was literally a countdown going on. People were like, it's coming out in 1 hour. It's coming out in 15 minutes.
So many people are like, you're all going to feel like idiots when you called me a liar for saying it wasn't going to come out when it's going to come out in an hour.
Literally, the moment came and went, and it was trending on Twitter with nothing. And I said, this is insane. You can't tell me people don't want this movie. But go ahead.
So probably about 9:00 Friday, we got the trailer drop for Captain America Brand New World. And they call it a teaser, but it feels like a trailer.
It was about a minute and a half.
Yeah, it definitely is trailer length.
Yes,
although I feel like trailers are getting like longer now.
Yeah, like 3 minutes.
This movie is going to come out February 14th, 2025. Is that Valentine's Day?
It is. It's also Black History Month.
Yeah. I got the Black History Month because people were like, why? I don't know why it's coming out in February. I'm like, clearly it's coming out in February because it's Black History Month.
Black Panther 1 came out in February,
but
guys.
Valentine's Day is a very interesting choice.
Listen, they don't care. They picked... They do not care. They probably picked the best weekend that fit their calendar.
It also feels like it's a summer movie. It feels
does.
like Winter Soldier, which was a summer blockbuster.
But you already know what's taking the summer, so.
This has more context because it's Black History Month, and we know that there's an Avengers movie that's coming out that year as well.
Well, and
or Fantastic Four,
I would say Fantastic Four has already stole the summer, so they got to put it somewhere.
So, cast list. This is going to have Anthony Mackie returning as Captain America. He is no longer Falcon.
I know that's right.
The Falcon role will be taken over by Danny Ramirez, who will be returning from the Falcon and the Winter Soldier TV show.
I liked him.
On Disney+. It's going to also star Shira Haas, who's playing a new character in the MCU, but not from the comic, but not a new character in the comic. She's playing Ruth Bat-Saraf, who is she's Sabra in the comics.
And they're purposely not using her name.
I don't know why. Because they're not changing anything else about the character.
They're trying to avoid the quote unquote boycott people said they was gonna do. But anyway, go ahead.
Okay. It's also going to start Zosha Rockmore, who's playing a character who's a Secret Service agent. She's not named.
Black Girl Magic.
Carl Lumbly will be returning as the original Black Captain America from the first Captain America Winter Soldier show.
Yep, loved him.
Giancarlo Esposito from The Things will also be joining this. Liv Tyler is actually officially credited as a cast member on the show. On the movie. However, she doesn't appear in the trailer.
She does not, but we know she in there.
Tim Blake Nelson will be returning from The Hulk with Edward Norton.
We see the back of his head
where he plays
with a hat on.
He'll be playing the leader. And we have Harrison Ford, who will be stepping in to take over the role of the President of the United States in this movie, but will be Thaddeus Thunderbolt Ross in the MCU.
And he's replacing it's hard to say like that. But he's replacing William Hurt.
William Hurt, yes, who passed.
Yep. I played this trailer like 4 times.
I played about 3, yeah.
Because it came out of nowhere. It starts off with a bang. It ends with a bang. The editing is impeccable. All the shots look good. And at the end, Red Hulk showed up.
Yeah. So let's just break down what we see in the trailer.
Mm-hmm.
So the trailer starts off with Sam being called into the Oval Office by Harrison Ford, who's playing Thunderbolt Ross.
AKA the president.
Thunderbolt Ross is now the president. He won the election. Interesting. I guess he's replacing the president from Secret Invasion.
Yay, hallelujah. We just move on from that.
Who ordered the murder of all the Skrulls. So I wonder if that's still a thing. I wonder if Secret Invasion's still even on the board.
We're going to skip and act like that movie that show did not exist.
So Thunderbolt Ross is basically revisiting the Sokovia Accords conversation. He's like, we tried with the last guy. We tried to make Captain America Wyatt Russell. He was a flop. And made us look bad. So
he over on the Thunderbolts about to cause some havoc.
We're revisiting you, Sam.
Right.
We're asking if you want to work with the military and make Captain America official military position.
Right.
He doesn't say no because Sam is a military man.
He is. You're correct.
He does ask the same question Steve asked, where he's like, okay, so what if we disagree on how to respond to like a situation? How does that go?
Right.
And we basically get a couple clips of that a weird situation, complex situation happening. So it looks like Carl Lumbly has got some Manchurian Candidate type of stuff going on.
Now, pause here for a second. At CinemaCon, they showed a clip from this, and it showed Carl Numbly. What's his last name? Lumley. More being taken over or more being like brainwashed. So he's fully brainwashed somehow, like he Bucky for some reason. We don't know why though.
Yeah, so Carl Lumbly gets activated. He's a sleeper of some type, and he attacks the Secret Service, and he tries to assassinate Harrison Ford before failing and jumping out of a window.
Yep.
And we get Anthony Mackie and Danny Ramirez basically telling Harrison Ford some Winter Soldier-esque stuff is happening.
It's an app in your circle,
it's
President.
Another inside job taking place, and we need to figure out what's going on.
And the president's like, okay, sure, whatever.
We really don't, other than the fact that we know that Tim Blake Nelson is going to be the main antagonist in the film, the main bad guy.
Sure.
He'll be playing the leader, who is the arch nemesis of Bruce Banner's Hulk. Bruce Banner has been rumored to appear in this, but not confirmed.
He's showing up.
I'm
calling it.
I think instead of making the Hulk a main character, it's going to be the Red Hulk instead.
Now, the Red Hulk is good or bad?
So Thaddeus Thunderbolt Ross is a villain.
Right. Yeah, that's what I thought.
And the Red Hulk is a villain.
The
Hulk just increases your own personal anguish. So if you're already bad, if you're good, you'll have trouble still being good. But if you're bad, you'll have no trouble being awful.
Right. Okay.
Also, a benefit with Red Hulk is that Red Hulk, the reason he's red is because he's fueled by rage. So he's also stronger than Bruce Banner as well. Because he doesn't have the
kindness in his heart.
He lacks the kindness because Thunderbolt Ross is a bad guy.
Right. Okay.
Also, he's missing the brain power
of the Hulk.
Hulk is intelligent,
right? Because he's Bruce in there. Okay.
Red Hulk is not. He's just pure rage and anger and fury. So he's typically depicted as stronger than Green Hulk.
Okay.
Green Hulk Grey Hulk is the weakest out of all Hulks.
I wonder if we go. I would be so surprised if the Hulk don't show up in this. Like. So surprised. Like even if he in there, he's just where is he?
So we have 4 Hulks that could be in this technically. We have Bruce Banner Hulk.
Green.
We have She-Hulk.
Green.
We have Thaddeus, who's Red Hulk, and then we have Liv Tyler, who's also a Hulk.
Excuse me?
Yes, Liv Tyler is the red She-Hulk.
Dude, we get this movie with 4 Hulks, I'ma lose it.
Yeah, Liv Tyler's character Betty Ross is a red.
I
Hulk.
hope wait, let me take that back. This still need to be Captain America's movie, so maybe not all 4 Hulks, but I take 2.
I think it's going to be. I think what they're going to do is make Thunderbolt Ross, instead of just making him a plain villain, because you can't make the president of the United States a villain.
He's got to. Okay.
They're gonna make him like an antagonist.
Okay.
But he's
still a president.
I think he's going to end up on Sam's side because they have to fight the leader together.
So we're going to have an MCU universe where the president is a Hulk. That's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
When you think about it. And is it going to be like everybody a little secret?
I think it's going to be a secret until he blows. I think the Hulk is. So we get a scene in the trailer of the White House being destroyed. And I think that's Harrison Ford.
Tearing it up.
All the fights we see in the trailer take place on the White House lawn because of the cherry blossom trees.
Exactly. Yep. You can tell. They definitely they definitely don't try to hide where they are. In those
so he definitely hulks out at the White House.
Huh. this is gonna be real. It's very, as everybody and their mama said on Twitter, it's very Winter Soldier. It is very Winter Soldier, and that is less than a complaint. That ain't even. That's a clap. That's clapping.
Yeah. So Giancarlo Esposito's role is going to be smaller. He was added at the last minute.
He was. Yep.
But he still made some pretty hefty appearances in this trailer. Mm-hmm. He's going to be playing a character named G.W. Bridge, who is he's a good guy, but he's a mercenary who does the Black Widow-esque jobs for the U.S. government.
Okay, and he definitely shooting up banging somebody in this trailer for sure.
I think Giancarlo Esposito, Sam, Danny Ramirez, and Shira Haas and her black sidekick are all working towards the same goal.
But not in the same way.
They are coming from separate angles. I think they're all coming from separate angles. I think Giancarlo Esposito may be working alone.
Okay.
Shira Haas' character is a former Black Widow in the movie, but she is also a super soldier.
Okay.
She is an Israeli version of Captain America.
Now, are they going to super soldier her in this movie? Do we know that?
She's already super soldier.
You think she already is? Okay.
Which is interesting. Where does she get the super soldier serum from?
You brought up a good point of why is this just not Sharon Carter?
Why is this not Sharon Carter?
You were not the only person who thought that. And I was kind of like, yeah, y'all kind of right. Where is Sharon?
They introduced Sharon Carter as the power broker.
They did in the show.
Falcon and Winter Soldier. Mm-hmm. We know that she's been the one dealing the super soldier serum out to people. And it works.
I will admit, I didn't love that though.
I didn't love her character turn. No,
I didn't. I was kind of like forced. It did, and it was just kind of like so. That's
but it felt forced, but they did it. And
right. So why not follow through?
I was interested in where it left off, especially with the fact that she ain't got Steve anymore. She technically has nothing tethering her to the good side, and it made sense when she said after S.H.I.E.L.D. fell, the superheroes ended up good, but the rest of us kind of ended up disenfranchised and on the run and fugitives. And nobody came and looked for her to make sure she was good.
She was not part of the group chat. So she was not happy about that.
I understood her turn, even though it did I did not like to see it, but I understood her turn.
Yeah, the way people felt about Wanda being evil and Multiverse of Madness was how I felt about Sharon being evil. I was like, I don't feel like this makes sense.
And Sharon is always a good guy in the show. In the cartoon. I'm sorry, cartoon. In the comic. Sharon is always a good guy. She's the Black Widow parallel in the comics.
And we've only seen a minute and a half of this. So maybe she shows up. I don't know. But you made a good point. Like, why is this not just Sharon? So interesting.
Sharon.
Yeah.
But anyway, about the shot, we get the new suit. I'm not a fan of the new suit.
You know what? I'm warming up to it.
I like the blue and white. The exaggerated blue and white. Okay, the hood wasn't great, but the suit, the blue and white, I loved it. I think
that people are 50. I literally think it's 50-50. I think half of the people like the suit from the show and half of the people like the suit from the movie.
So the suit from the show is comic accurate. And that's kind of why I like it, but mostly why I like it is because it's drastically different than every other Captain America suit. Yeah,
this one looks more Winter Soldier-y.
Yeah.
Or Infinity War.
It was Winter Soldier, and I wasn't a fan of the Winter Soldier suit. I like the star. I like the stars and stripes on the Captain America suit.
It's funny. I think people are literally 50-50 on these suits, and I'm just kind of like, that's not a bad thing technically.
It reminds me of when Zack Snyder made the Superman suit dark.
Yeah,
super dark,
you're not a fan of dark
blue,
superhero.
Super dark red and super dark yellow.
You are like, turn up the color. Yeah, I feel it. I feel it.
I like saturated, goofy looking colors in a comic book movie.
Because that's how you know, like, I'm here and look at my outfit.
Yeah, it looks like a uniform instead of looking like a super suit.
Okay, I agree. I can see how you feel like that.
We don't get any shots of Danny Ramirez in the suit. We get a shot of him flying, and we can see his wings while he's flying next to Sam.
I like those shots.
During what looks like a ship battle.
They fighting somewhere in the air.
At Tiamat Island, which is, they've coined it Tiamat Island in the MCU. This is
it ain't moving.
This is the point in the island in the Eternals movie when they stop the Celestial from rising from Earth's surface.
So he's stuck in the ocean with his hands out
as an island.
And everybody's been asking, but what about? And like, he's here, y'all. We found him. Yeah. Chill out.
So Tiamat is here.
Tiamat Island.
And we get scenes of Sam fighting what looks like Japanese fighter jets.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I have a note about, or they announced, or they said who was going to be the prime minister of Japan in this.
Takehiro Hira.
Where does he from?
The prime minister of Japan. He's going to be Prime Minister Ozaki.
Is he the dad from Legacy of Monsters? Is that why he looks so familiar to me?
Yes. He is Hiroshi Randa. He is the dad from Legacy
I knew
of
it.
Monsters.
I was like, that man looks so familiar. He played a good jerk in that show.
I mean,
So
he barely had any screen time in
the
show,
he portrayed being a junk dad.
He was a great runaway father.
He was. So if he's a junk prime minister, I'm like, sir, you know how to do this. You know how to do this well.
So it looks like we might get some U.S. versus Japan war over the possession of the Tiamat Island.
I'm not okay. You know what? They did quite a bit of reshoots, we found out, and they said they were doing reshoots to make it more Winter Soldier-y. Mm-hmm. It looks like it.
It definitely looks like it looks more like a sequel to Winter Soldier.
I'll take it.
Then it looks like a sequel to Civil War.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And you know, Civil War was basically Avengers like 2.5.
Right. So this looks like it's going to go back small scale. Smaller because we have several Hulks.
I was going to say slightly smaller.
And a Celestial.
It's not a otherworldly-ish as much.
But we're telling a Mission Impossible-esque Winter Soldier-esque espionage story.
There we go.
Winter Soldier was one of the best received films in the MCU when it came out. It is still up there in like people's top 5.
Everybody
of all
wants
MCU films.
Wants more Winter Soldier vibes.
They did a really good job with that, and that was made by the Russo brothers. Yep. This is going to be directed by Julius Ona, which is a black man.
Yes, he is. Mm-hmm.
Who directed the Cloverfield Paradox, which was on Netflix, which was received okay.
Okay.
But wasn't bad. I saw the Cloverfield Paradox. I like the ending.
Somebody shared. There's another movie. I think that is another movie he made that's on Hulu now. That's like a supernatural thriller. Somebody said it was really good.
Yeah,
so,
he's got 4 movies on his credits.
Okay.
He's got The Girl Is in Trouble.
Okay.
He's got the Cloverfield Paradox. Loose, which came out in 2019. Looks like it stars Octavia Spencer.
I think that's the movie they said was good.
Okay. Yeah,
Hulu.
He was director, writer, and producer of that. And he is going to be director of Captain America Brave New World.
I like it.
Yeah.
I like it.
So excited to see it. This is going to be a multi-film watch.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, we're absolutely going to support this. 100%.
I don't care if the trailer looked like crap. I was still going to go see it.
It's gotten
don't care.
What's funny is that I was going to say it's gotten a lot of like backlash just because there are strange Steve Rogers stands, which is funny because I feel like y'all didn't appear until he stopped being a Captain America.
He's dead.
Y'all weren't fans
Goodbye.
I feel like there weren't huge MCU Captain America fans until Steve Rogers stopped being Captain
He
America.
was very popular.
And now there's like this fight for the purity of Captain America, which
y'all
is
should have kept. Why did he? And if I'm not mistaken, the mantle got passed to him in the comics, right?
He is still Captain America in the comics, and he was made Captain America. Sam was made Captain America in the comics like 10 years ago. He's still Captain America in the comics, so it's not even like
the reason why is obvious, and we do not need to spell it out. But yes, I will see this movie 5 times.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
All right, that is our last stop at the trailer park. Let's dive into this Buncha Crunch.
Big. So we finally got a premiere date for the Amazon Prime series Cross, which is going to star Aldous Hodge. It will be coming out on November 14th. And this show actually already has been approved for season 2. So Amazon must be feeling real good about season 1. Alex Cross is based up on the character from the James Patterson movie or books, Alex Cross. Tyler Perry previously played Alex Cross in a movie, I think.
Yeah, in the worst one.
Okay, and has somebody played him before Tyler Perry? Oh, is this the Morgan Freeman's? No.
Yes. This is Morgan Freeman.
Is it?
We just watched Along Came a Spider.
I thought that was a different series.
No, it's Morgan Freeman. It's Alex Cross.
Oh,
wow!
Sorry, I love Along Came. I love the Morgan Freeman ones. Sorry. I love the Morgan Freeman ones. My mind blanked to realize that this was
the girls.
Thank you. I've seen them both. Thank you very much. And we recently watched Along Came a Spider.
Yes,
I had a temporary lapse in memory and forgot that these was all connected.
Along Came a Spider is still good. We're watching it. I see the killer from a mile away. Like, it's unmissable.
But it's so
clearly the killer.
It's such a straightforward, good
so
crime thriller though.
But rewatching it now, it's like
she did it.
Morgan, how do you not know that you're sitting next to the killer?
Open your eyes. But anyway, Aldous Hodge is going to be starring in this. There is a trailer. It's not really a trailer. There's like a little
teaser.
Yeah, it's a teaser. So we actually don't have like a full length trailer yet. So we haven't got a super close look at it. But I'm glad we finally got a date.
They're clearly excited about the show because it's got a season 2 confirmation already. But they're very stingy about the details about the show in general. We haven't seen anything about it other than like some posters. Yeah,
there was like a little 30-second little tease, little taste. But I
feel like we got more details about Mr. and Mrs. Smith when they were promoting that than we did about this.
I guess they got a little time. It is not coming out till November and it's July, but I need them to ramp it up. Yeah. Posters, pictures, merch, all of that.
Absolutely.
Next up, Matthew Chauncey is the new writer for season 3 of X-Men 97. So season 2, they are working on, I think they finished, but they're doing like post-production on season 2. We don't have a premiere date for season 2, but this officially confirms season 3. He is the writer producer, so he's not new to Marvel at all. Matthew is the writer producer for Marvel's What If animated show. So he's not only worked in Marvel, but he's also worked in Marvel Animation. So he is very much in tune with what they are looking for. And everybody is very, we're all holding our breath for season 2 because we're trying to see if it's going to be the same, seeing as the original guy is no longer working on it.
Yeah, so the next sneaks for X-Men 97 season 2 and What If season 3 they've confirmed that they will be showcased at D23, which will be in August,
like 2 weeks after Comic-Con.
So we probably won't see those trailers because D23 is pretty exclusive with their clips and the stuff that they show, but descriptions of what was shown will probably be online within the hour.
We need y'all journalists that's gonna be there to be real specific,
right?
Y'all
we can't go yet, so.
Right? Maybe year after next.
So details on that on season 2 should be soon, and then we'll probably have to wait a while before we see what season 3 may look like.
Matthew got some big shoes to fill, but the fact that they worked in the house and they worked on animation, I feel like is a good sign.
Everybody else is still there. Bo DeMaio isn't there, but the people he worked with is still there.
And literally everybody else is still behind the scenes. So
if they can't continue the magic without him, I mean
that's probably
that's a little suspicious. Yeah, but I 100% think that they still can.
Right. Well, because he's head writer, but you have other writers that help write the season. So unless they all left too, I think we'll be okay. We'll be all right.
So Shrek 5 also has a release date. It's going to be on July 1st, 2026. This is going to be the 4th of July movie. It's going to star Mike Myers, Eddie Murphy, and Cameron Diaz, all returning
the
for the same roles.
The gang is back.
Except for Antonio Banderas. We have no confirmation if he's going to be back yet.
We don't know if Puss in Boots is going to be in this one.
Right.
Interesting that, one, they got everybody back. Mm-hmm. 2, that there are 5 of these.
I still don't know what 4 is about.
I don't know. Yeah, we talked about.
I've seen all of them.
Yeah, we talked about this and we were trying to figure out which was what, but it'll probably be another Despicable Me. 12 situation where everybody goes to go see it.
Interesting tidbit: 2 weeks after Shrek 5 comes out, Toy Story 5 will also be released, which is funny because Toy Story is just now hitting 5, and Toy Story has been out since I was a child, and Shrek certainly hasn't.
You're right. One was moving a little faster than the other one.
So Toy Story 5, which releases on Juneteenth in 2026. Interesting date.
I did that on purpose.
But they're both going to be smash hits. Shrek 5 has the benefit of being for an older audience.
Slightly older, yep.
And the anticipation factor. People have been waiting on another Shrek movie forever.
Right. I think people have been wanting to see Donkey, honestly.
Toy Story 5 is going to be a box office smash because of its legacy.
2 is going to be another Inside Out Despicable Me 4.
And I think I think Toy Story 5 is going to be a success because the plan for Toy Story 5 is to course correct that ending for Toy Story 4.
Which I won't.
And to bring Woody and Buzz back.
Which I refuse.
What were y'all thinking?
I'm not watching that movie, y'all.
I mean, you might as well watch it now because they're getting back together.
Too late.
So
y'all told me about it. I trust y'all judgment.
I'm not explaining what happened in 4 to you when you're confused.
I will read the Wikipedia, and that's all I need to know.
All right, one more sad crunch. So the last crunch on the show today is going to be a farewell to Shelley Duvall, who passed away earlier this week at the age of 75 years old. She left Hollywood a long time ago.
Yep.
And just was reliving a regular life. Apparently apparently she had been struggling with some health issues recently, and she has passed. Shelley Duvall has an extensive acting career, and she is mostly known for her roles as Olive Oyl in the first live-action adaptation of Popeye.
But she looks just like Olive Oyl.
Yes. And most widely known for her role as Wendy in Stephen King's The Shining.
If you are kind of like, I'm not sure.
Stephen King, Stanley Kubrick's The Shining.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yes.
If you're like, I'm not sure who this is, the movie where where Jack Nicholson is hammering through the door and she's the woman screaming in the corner, that is Shelley Duvall.
Yes, Shelley Duvall is the woman in the black bob with the blue robe, running around frantically with a butcher knife, running away from Jack Nicholson.
And she was actually scared. There's some very interesting, you can Google it, but there's some very interesting stories of how The Shining got made and how she was impacted filming that movie. So very interesting behind the scenes film stories.
There's a YouTube channel called Dead Meat that breaks down horror films. They do the kill count. And in addition to counting kills in horror movies, he does a good extensive background on the making of the film. And The Shining, I think, is one of that channel's favorites. They do a really good breakdown on Shelley Duvall and Stanley Kubrick and how they made that film. And she went through a lot of stress making it, but she came out enjoying it because the film turned out to be a really big success and it gave her a really big name. And she's like a horror icon and Scream Queen.
She is. So rest in peace.
R.I.P. to a real one. All right. So that is the end of our movie news, trailer park, and Buncha Crunch section. We're going to take a quick break and we're going to come back for our movie review of the week, which is Longlegs.
Longlegs. Real long. Okay, this week we watched Longlegs. It was released January 12th, 2024. It was directed by Oz Perkins. He also directed previous movies called The Black Coat's Daughter and Gretel and Hansel. Have you seen either one of those?
No, but I've seen his dad's movie.
Who's his dad?
Osgood Perkins is the son of Anthony Perkins.
Anthony Perkins is from... another horror movie, ain't it?
It's Norman Bates.
Oh, horror.
Yes.
So he's a horror kid. He's literally a horror kid.
Yeah. He's an American actor, director, and singer who played Norman Bates in Psycho.
Okay.
So he is a Nepo baby and a legacy horror
literally veteran. In his blood. That's crazy. The cast of and characters of Longlegs includes, as always, I do not have my notes up. Now I got them up. I'm probably going to say somebody's name wrong, but welcome to our podcast. How do you say her name? The lead
Micah Monroe.
Micah. Okay. Micah Monroe plays Lee Parker. We have Nicolas Cage, who plays Longlegs. Blair Underwood, who plays Agent Carter. Alicia Witt, who plays Ruth Harker, who is Lee Harker's mom. We have Michelle Cho Lee, who plays Agent Browning, and Dakota Dubley, who plays another Agent Horatio. There's several other people in this movie, but those are the most important. Actually, it's mostly just Micah, Nicholas, and Blair.
Yes.
And, well, Alicia Witt, her mama.
Yes.
Those are our leads of the movie. It is only an hour and 41 minutes, so not very long to be terrified if you feel like you would be terrified by such a movie. Budget of $10 million, so pennies in terms of Hollywood budgets. Box office,
in between the couch cushion quarters.
Listen, they write this off on craft services on one day of a movie. Box office wise, it's currently hit $10 million domestically on its opening day. So it has made its budget back opening day. It is on track to do 20 to 23 million domestically opening weekend. So it's going to be profitable. Just as a comparison, or just as some fun facts about its box office, it's the biggest opening day for Neon, the studio that made this movie. It's also the biggest opening for an R-rated horror movie since The Nun 2. And I'm not sure when The Nun 2 came out, but I know that ain't my type of movie.
Not that long ago.
Okay.
Yeah.
So now it is the biggest opening R-rated horror movie.
Yeah, that's good. It makes sense. Neon was the A24 before A24 came about.
Is that why everybody on Reddit say A24, then strike it out and say Neon? I'm like, why do y'all keep doing that?
Yeah, Neon's old.
It's supposed to be a fun... Oh, okay, it's a joke.
It's friendly competition. Jason Blum had tweeted congratulations to Neon, but he said he was stuck between jealousy and happy for them. So horror community is very friendly, competitive. But Neon was the original A24.
I was like, why do they... I know y'all just edit it and take it out, but they was... Okay. Haha, funny. Now I get it.
They're the ones who made that Noir movie that won that Palme de Mar award over
at a film festival?
Film festival circuit, and that was the trailer that played
that we saw.
Longlegs.
Okay, yeah, you're right. They're very A20. I get it. They're very A24 like.
Yeah.
Cinema score of a C+, which
surprisingly low, to be quite honest.
As we have said, because we have done, this is our third horror movie in a row on this podcast. Horror movies tend to get rated lower. So like a B+ for a horror is like an A for a typical movie. So a C+, I guess, is not terrible, but it is lower than what I thought it was going to be.
Yeah. So this hits the same level as the original Saw, Imaginary,
which nobody saw.
No. And Insidious 5. Insidious 5 wasn't the best of the Insidious ones. Insidious 5, the Red Door one?
There's 5 of those?
Is that the Red Door one?
Sure. I don't know.
I'm gonna Google Insidious 5.
You gonna ask me if Insidious 5, a specific detail about that
because
movie.
There's the main Insidious ones. The Insidious one was Patrick Wilson.
Yeah. Oh, there was
but
one
then
with
they
them
have spin-offs. There are like 2 spin-offs.
Child,
Insidious 5 is the Red Door one. Fine. Yeah.
That's one of my limits of horrors.
It is above Malignant, which
I've seen some clips of that.
Strange. I liked Malignant.
I thought people didn't like Malignant though. Or is it like a cult classic, not a critic?
Malignant was a lot more zany of a horror movie than people expected it to be.
Okay.
It's probably because of the fight sequences, the backwards fight sequences, which were funny. But good.
I've seen, you showed me that. I was like, this actually ain't too bad in horror. I mean, but it wasn't too bad.
Above Immaculate, fine. I thought Immaculate was good. I've seen Immaculate.
You did. You described it and it sounded interesting to me.
Above The First Omen.
Which you just watched.
I liked The First Omen. That actually goes up there as one of my favorite horror movies because it's very detective-y.
Okay. So you got it tight when it comes to horror movies.
And it's above Hereditary, which is a crime. Like the plaque to Hereditary got a D+ is a actual
so
crime.
Malignant, Immaculate, and First Omen all have C's, and Hereditary. I looked it up.
Arrest?
I looked it up this morning because I was putting this together, and I was like, D+.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Now a sidebar about me and Hereditary. 1, I don't do horror movies. 2, you had me watch. I think it was the kill count video of Hereditary because you were like, just watch this part.
Because she wasn't gonna watch the movie.
Because I wasn't. Ain't no way. I actually had trouble sleeping just from watching that kill count recap.
That's ridiculous.
I literally was kind of like, is something in the corner creeping?
A lot of people have said after they've seen Hereditary, they do check their corners
It is the creepiest horror movie, but I don't understand why horror people didn't like it.
Yeah, it was so good. It has great acting.
It has, listen, from what I saw, it looked like a really good horror movie. Yeah. So I was very confused at the like it's got to be one of the best low-rated movies ever.
Yeah.
Like not just horror movies, just movies ever.
And acclaimed. Like,
exactly.
It's insane.
Toni Collette should have won an Oscar for that.
More crimes to add to this list. It also falls under Maxine, which
Maxine.
Yeah.
Sorry.
There's a reason probably Maxine is rated so high.
What? Because people like Mia Goth, and they
probably because it looks. Yeah, Mia Goth has her own fan base. There's you have to factor in the mothering that comes with Mia Goth. No.
If you're curious of our thoughts, you can listen to our previous episode.
Falls under Smile and under Candyman. I liked Candyman.
Yeah. So also Maxine, Smile, and Candyman all got B's.
Yeah.
So
I would have given this a B- at most.
I would say.
And at least.
At the very least, I would have gave it a B-.
Yeah,
You're right.
I would have stuck solid on a B- for this film.
Yeah. So Rotten Tomatoes, the critics gave it an 87, and the audience gave it a 69. Now, let's briefly.
It's better than the cinema score.
Well, I guess.
Yeah. It looks better than the cinema score. A C+ on cinema score is end of the world times. A 69 Rotten Tomatoes is okay.
Right, because people don't understand that different genres typically get different things. So on the surface, a C+, you like, oh, that's not great. But 69 Rotten Tomatoes means that majority of people, that's how I liked it. Right. And I guess one thing to talk about before we get into our typical review, the marketing team, A+.
Oh yeah, marketing was amazing.
A++.
They definitely.
But they said we need butts in these seats, and they said say less.
The box office is probably like 80-20 between the marketing being responsible for the box office and then the film being responsible for the box office.
Yeah.
The marketing, they went like super overboard with
they
marketing.
had billboards with just the name and Longlegs eyeballs.
Yeah.
And not the name, a phone number. And people were calling this random phone number to hear Nicolas Cage sound like a Looney Tune on the phone.
And it makes sense because they spent $5 making the movie.
Right.
So they had all of
they
the money
had
to market
the budget.
it.
I mean, they like all the trailers were super eerie. One of the last things they put out was Micah Monroe had I guess she had a mic
heart monitor on
or something on her that recorded her heartbeat, and they said the first time they saw her heartbeat went up to like 172 beats per minute, and they like released a little clip of her heartbeat beating real fast and a little sneak peek of Longlegs. I was just like, y'all are doing the most. The hype around this, the hype train had us all circled. Okay,
and they weren't stingy at all with the clips. Like they were putting out clips, they were putting out multiple trailers.
Yeah, and some people, I think,
teaser.
Some people was like, I don't want to watch anymore because I don't want to be spoiled.
So they definitely sold the fact that it was super creepy because they kept saying how creepy it was, and then they weren't stingy with showing footage.
No,
and the footage was creepy, but didn't really give anything away.
Right,
and they
you're
were
right.
very, very secretive about Nicolas Cage's appearance.
Yes, so we would typically just get his eyeballs, or we would get like his mouth and below, so just like his chin area.
They would always cut off the clip right before you got a good look at his face.
And there's a part in the trailer where he covers his eyes, so we almost see him. We see like his hair, we just see his nose and his mouth, but he covers his eyes with his creepy looking hands. So you don't get a full look of him until you actually see the movie.
Right.
So marketing team, y'all send him a score A+. All right. Do you want to summarize the plot?
Sure. So the plot is Micah Monroe plays a detective named Lee Harker who is working with Blair Underwood, and they have been tasked with tracking down a serial killer who is Nicolas Cage, who murders families, but he murders families. But forensics show, and this is all kind of like in the trailer, that he's never present at the time of the murders.
Right.
So they're trying to figure out how to stop him and how he's doing it.
And we know that he is the killer. There
are no secrets.
Literally in opening credits, it says Nicolas Cage, that's Longlegs.
Yeah, there's no secret in the film about who the killer is.
Correct. Correct. So who did we like and who did we not like or didn't favor in this cast list?
I enjoyed everyone. The cast is very small.
It is.
You spend the whole movie with Micah Monroe
and Blair Underwood.
So you spend the most time with the two of them. You stay with Micah Monroe the entire movie, though.
Yeah,
you get some scenes with just Nicolas Cage, which were very unsettling. I didn't like just being with Nicolas Cage.
Oh, really?
No.
I'm surprised to hear you say that.
I mean, I liked him as an actor. Just being with him.
Little creepy, huh?
A little creepy.
Little creep.
But I liked everybody. Micah Monroe did a really, really good job playing like a detective who was clearly very troubled. Blair Underwood was just more Blair Underwood. Not bad, but Blair Underwood's good in everything he's in. But I mean, it's Blair Underwood. You know.
This movie made me want more Blair Underwood.
It made me wonder why he's not in more stuff.
Exactly. Yeah. I was kind of like, I didn't miss Blair on the screen.
Blair Underwood's always good, but it made me wonder, like, where is?
Yeah, I don't know if he's like
using Blair as often.
I don't know if he's personally taking a break or hanging back, but we need more Blair Underwood.
His role in this was very good.
I did.
I enjoyed Nicolas Cage. I liked him as the serial killer.
Such an interesting word.
I like a crazy villain. He accomplished the goal.
He did.
He was creepy, unsettling. There were there were comedic elements to him because he was crazy. That was something that came out in reviews early too.
Some people alluded to they kind of chuckled, but it felt weird.
There was some humor with Micah Monroe too, because her character is kind of like this awkward detective who's like troubled. But I really enjoyed Nicolas Cage's serial killer. He was supposed to be freaking weird and unlike anybody else, and
was he freaking
was
weird.
Successful at that and memorable. I will absolutely remember this performance.
Yes, absolutely
for Nicolas Cage.
Yes,
in like his long list of filmography.
I don't see how you don't.
Yeah, this will actually stick in my brain.
Yeah, I will echo your sentiments. Really enjoyed, like we already said, Blair Underwood. Micah Monroe, I haven't seen her in anything previously, so this was my first foray into her acting. She was good. She did very good of playing like, is something wrong with you, girl?
Yes.
I was just
she
like,
did.
and you know that's what the character.
She needed a hug the whole movie.
You know that's what the character's supposed to portray, and she nailed that. Like you just want to shake her. Like, say what it is, girl. Say what's wrong with you. And then Nicolas Cage was just spot on. Looney. I'm just gonna keep calling him a Looney Tune.
If you thought Nicolas Cage playing John Travolta in Face Off was nuts, this is worse. Like, he's nuttier.
Well, he's nuttier because he looked like he just got okay, so I will say the one thing about his character that they tried to portray that he was like the most terrifying thing you've ever seen. Not true.
He mostly looked like Charlize Theron in Monster.
He looks crazy, but he doesn't look super scary. There's a couple of parts in the movie where they get like real close on his face where he starts talking kind of like this. And I was like, okay, this kind of too close.
I didn't have to look away from him.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. You could look at him the whole time. He just looked like a crazy old man with a real bad wig and Noxzema on his face that he forgot to wipe off.
Now, watching him in a movie, he didn't look that spooky. Now, if I saw somebody like him in person, I would absolutely I would
cross the street.
Yeah, like, he was, realistically, he's extremely unsettling.
If I saw him in Kroger's, I would be like, actually, need something in the other aisle. Yeah.
But there have been scarier depictions of like Charlize Theron. Charlize Theron was creepier looking in Monster.
But she wasn't. That was how the lady looked.
I mean, but they put like a lot of prosthetics, and Charlize Theron had to go through like a lot of makeup changes to get that look across.
He doesn't look more scary than the ghoul from Fallout, in my opinion. And I watched that
because he had a nose.
But people were saying he was like terrifying.
The ghoul in Fallout was also a zombie. So he looked human.
But people were saying, I thought he was going to look something like that because people were like, oh my God, I was like shaking, crying, and throwing up. And I was like, well, what does he look like?
The marketing definitely did the job in selling
the
spook factor with Nicolas Cage. He is spooky. He is scary.
Yes.
But looks-wise, he doesn't look that creepy. He looks regular world creepy. Crazy.
I was gonna say you could probably find somebody like this in the street somewhere. You would just cross the other way.
Fun fact: he said his character's depiction was based off of his mom. When he was a kid, his mom.
Yes, I can see that.
His mom used to spook him out by putting on her Noxzema face cream at night.
I literally just said he looked like he forgot to wipe off Noxzema.
He
just said that.
His mom used to wear Noxzema cold cream, and her face looks spooky. Which, I mean, anybody who's seen somebody put on Noxzema cold cream, they just look like a ghost.
Until you're supposed to wipe it out.
And that's how his character looks. His character clearly wears some type of like face paint or something.
It does. He's like white.
Yeah, his face is a lot whiter than some of the rest of his skin, like his neck.
Yeah, his paper white. And
looks
real
like
people,
a crazy ice cream man.
Real people are not paper white.
Yeah, he's like paper white.
He got a little off whiteness too, you know what I mean?
A surprise performance I'll give to Kiernan Shipka. She is Sabrina from The Chilling Adventures of Sabrina on the Netflix show. But this is her second appearance on the podcast. She was the main character in Totally Killer.
Episode early.
Yes, which is one of our earlier episodes. You can go watch it. It's an Amazon Prime movie.
Yes.
Very good. It is a slasher about a girl who has to travel back in time to stop a serial killer from killing all of her mom's friends so that her mom doesn't grow up to be traumatized. Oh, and also be murdered by a serial killer in the future.
Right.
But she was a good surprise performance. Had a very small role.
Yeah.
She played...
But creepy.
Yeah, she played like one of the surviving victims.
Yeah.
Nicolas Cage's character, but she clearly was extremely mentally affected by what happened, and she did really good with that.
She's tweaking.
Her dialogue was kind of off-putting, especially toward the end.
I was literally like, "What?"
Somebody in the audience in the theater audibly said what at the end of one of her statements, because she just kind of like went off on a weird broken English tangent.
Listen, our theater was pretty cool.
Yeah.
We was kind of participating with each other.
Any non-spoiler notes you want to shout out?
You know what? I actually don't have any. I like the way it was shot. The way that they framed all the scenes in the movie sets up tension because they're like wide angles, but the character is just kind of like in one spot. So your eyeballs is kind of like, what's about to pop out?
Right.
Where is it? Where is it going? Am I missing something? Is something about to scare me? So it sets up a lot of jump scares, although there aren't a lot of jump scares in the movie, but you feel like your body is tense because you're waiting for it. So I like that factor. The musical elements were interesting. in the movie. Not good or bad, but I just thought normally horror movies don't have like loud blaring music in them, so that was interesting. And the editing was good. Like the pacing, I thought was a little slow in the beginning, but once we kind of get going, I thought that was good.
Yeah, so I have a couple non-spoiler notes. One,
Okay.
I love the ambiance, the way that the film was set up. It kind of reminded me of Severance a little bit.
Okay.
Like the world, because everything was kind of like foggy and gray.
Yes.
Outside all the time.
No sun.
No
at
sun.
all.
Everything. There was never a sunny day. It was cloudy, bright and cloudy at best.
It was like a lightning storm.
So everything looked kind of gray and desaturated a little bit.
Sad.
Love the ambiance. And it kind of felt like a 7 a little bit. Even though 7 had a lot of like daylight and
it was like dirty New York.
super yellow lens.
I was gonna say it was like super dirty New York daylight though, so not that much.
Yeah, but
honestly.
it had like a 7-esque atmosphere to it, especially
did.
when you're in the scenes when you're walking up on a crime scene and you know it's gonna be bad, and
And
they're
it's
like
dark.
telling you it's gonna be bad before they like show you the bodies and stuff.
Yeah.
Great acting. Nicolas
Mm-hmm.
Cage did amazing. Micah Monroe really good. Very excited to see It Follows 2. It Follows was like the last Micah Monroe movie I saw from her. I was actually wondering where she had been in a very long time.
Oh, okay.
Sidebar, Micah Monroe looks a lot like Gwen Stefani.
When she got the blonde hair, for sure.
Yes.
For sure.
Not very scary, but spooky. It is spooky.
Yeah.
It is spooky because you know that the setting is supposed to be scary.
Right. You seen all the marketing?
Right. But it's not frightening to watch. There are no
Agreed.
jump scares in this movie.
No, not really.
But they do a good job at setting up. It's funny. They set up perfect jump scare moments
Yes.
quite frequently.
Because you just kind of like, am I about to see something? Where
Right.
is it?
And that's the spooky part of it. It's spooky because you're in an area, you're waiting for something to happen, but the jump scare or the scary part doesn't happen.
You're just kind of like, when can I relax?
And the movie doesn't have to have jump scares to be scary. Hereditary was scary. Hereditary was spooky and scary. This was just spooky.
Okay, I was gonna say was it him? But yeah, you're right. As somebody who does not do horror, my horror barometer is low, or my horror tolerance is very low. This is not super scary. Like the fact that I watched a 30-minute recap of Hereditary and couldn't sleep, but I could watch this whole movie and was okay. I think that's your gauge of how scary this was. I was able to watch all the trailers, so I think that's how I kind of thought I would be okay. But a lot of the reviews came out and were like, most terrifying movie, horror movie of the century. And I'm like, is this going to be like too much for me? But I was actually, I definitely had my eyes covered because I was waiting for something to happen.
Yeah.
But overall, if you are a baby horror person like me, you will probably be okay. Maybe
This is completely digestible.
Maybe go see it at like 3 so you can watch something after.
Piggybacking off what you said, I love the way the frames are shot.
Yes.
A lot of what you're supposed to be focusing on, or the moving piece of every shot, is in the center of it.
Yeah.
Like the character, or they do a lot of shots with the car. Wide shot of a car driving down the road. The car is in the center of a shot. You're behind the car.
You're looking in the sky like, where's it at?
And they frame it to force you to look in the background.
Right, because the screen is so big.
In the scenes when we're with Micah Monroe's character Lee in her house, and she's sitting at her desk looking over investigative materials.
Yeah.
It's shot where she's in the center. The shot is very wide. She's in the center. She's very close to the camera.
Yes,
but
in the foreground.
In perfect focus is her spooky looking kitchen.
Dark kitchen.
Dark, yeah.
Well, it's like she got the oven light on.
Right, she's got the stove light on.
And you just
And
waiting
all the other
like,
lights are off.
where's it at?
And
Is something coming?
you're waiting for something to come.
Is it long
Something
legs?
does end up appearing there, but when the way it appears isn't spooky, but
True.
there's no jump scare.
Yeah.
I really like that.
It was the setup, all that. I don't know what you call that in like film terms, but that was very good.
Yeah, but before we get into spoilers, in a lot of the wide shots, if you're watching the film, things do appear in the background and they don't stay there, so you kind of have to pay attention. Yes. And that leads to my last non-spoiler note is definitely needs a second watch.
For you, yes.
For me, yeah. I definitely want to watch it again because there's some lines of dialogue that are said earlier in the film that come back at the end. I caught some of them, but I think I missed a couple.
Okay.
And as far as things appearing in the background of shots, that happens quite frequently. I missed a couple, and I want to make sure I catch those. But there are a lot of things that come up early in the film that end up playing a part later. For example, there's without spoiling it, they talk about the man downstairs. Yeah. And that could mean multiple things. That could mean the man downstairs that you clearly think, or it could mean the man downstairs who's literally downstairs from where you're standing. Right.
You're right. Mm-hmm.
But that it has double entendres. That's
right.
what they're called.
Yeah, I did see a lot of reviews saying that they would definitely go watch this again. Yeah. My baby horror self, I'm good, but I can see how there's definitely a movie where multiple times watching you would catch different things. Yeah. So I agree with that.
So that is the end of my non-spoiler notes.
Same.
All right. So we are about to dive into spoilers in 3, 2, 1.
I would just like to highlight the fact that I called the first person that was killed all by myself. Yeah.
So my first note is, this is my second note. So the first note, let's talk about the opening.
Yeah.
The cold open. Cold open was the first time Cheryl laughed in the movie.
I've laughed a couple times in this movie.
She did.
Like scary laugh.
So the cold open, which I think goes down as one of the most memorable cold opens for me. It's a very memorable cold open.
Yeah. So I think some people thought that would consider this a jump scare, but I didn't jump. Because I saw some reviews that were like, oh, there's a couple jump scares. And I was like...
The jump scare was the title card.
I'll say
that.
Okay.
So the movie opens with, it is the 70s. I believe it's a flashback. Mm-hmm. And we see a little girl sitting in a room drawing. It's
minding
winter.
Her business.
Well, actually, we see a car pull up to a house.
Yeah.
It's the winter. Mm-hmm. Pulls up to the house in the middle of nowhere. It says it's in Oregon. It's probably not the middle of nowhere, but houses weren't cramped together in the 70s as much as they were now. So it's probably just a regular neighborhood suburb.
Exactly. Right.
Car pulls up to the house. We don't see who's in the car. It's clearly Nicolas Cage.
Clearly.
We see a little girl sitting in a house, in a room, drawing. She sees the car pull up and stop. There's no driver in the car. There is
something in the passenger
figure
seat.
in the passenger seat that is wearing like a black cloak.
A hooded figure.
So, being a dumb little girl, she goes outside and doesn't tell her parents.
No, she does not.
She goes outside and investigates
she
herself.
Gets herself dressed to go outside too.
Yeah, puts on her boots and coat, scarf, goes outside.
Yeah.
To investigate the car.
Yes.
And she notices nobody's in the car. And she notices there's just a figure sitting in the passenger seat of the car, not moving.
Hooded figure.
And then she hears a raspy voice of a man go cuckoo in the wind. That was enough for me. And what irritated me about this scene was that it was the very first of the extremely wide shots.
So you was trying to find out where it was coming from?
I was waiting for Nicolas Cage to run into the screen from the side and like attack her or nab her, because we know that he's like a serial killer. Right. And he kills children.
Right.
But he didn't. We hear his cuckooing at her. She turns around and goes to a different part of the yard and looks for him. Doesn't see him. Right. Turns left and Nicolas Cage is there.
But it's only
as if he apparated.
It's only his nose down. We still don't see the full Nicolas Cage. And you're like, what?
So it's shot where we only see like nose down.
Yeah.
And we can see his face clearly covered in like some type of white face paint or makeup.
It looks crazy.
He's dressed in all white, but his clothes are dirty.
Yeah, it's like an off-white situation. Yeah.
His hands are a little dirty.
Yeah.
And he tells the girl, we just hear his voice. And his voice is very like raspy and
high-pitched,
creepy.
A little bit. It's a little high-pitched as well.
But he tells her he says she has a birthday coming up. And he's got a gift for her. And right before he's about to lean into the camera, and he says, I want to show you something.
Yeah.
And right before he's about to lean into the camera, it cuts to the title card and like really, really loud orchestral music. And Cheryl starts busting out laughing.
Because it was so weird.
It sets the tone. It reminds you of the first time you as a child ran into a creepy adult by yourself. Yeah. That's what it reminds you of. Everybody has that memory of the first time they ran into a creepy adult
person
by themselves and nobody else was around to help or something. It was unsettling.
It
set the tone for Nick Cage's character.
And it was more like a what laugh?
Yeah.
Like he just looked crazy. I was confused why she was outside. this shot is like super wide. And I'm like, well, where's he at? Where's he coming from?
Where's her parents?
Where is it? Is it a deer? What is going on here? Yeah. And then the cuckoo was just like, okay, so he's crazy.
Creepy, right?
So crazy.
You showed up at this house, didn't knock, and you're wandering around their yard
in the snow.
Yeah,
so you're right. So it cuts to the title card, the music comes on, and then we get the scene where her partner gets popped.
The opening scene was crazy.
It was creepy.
Opening kill I saw coming.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, they released the clip online. This is one of their online clips that they released. See,
I stopped watching clips like 2 weeks before a movie come out. I don't want to see no more.
So, yeah, her FBI agent partner they pull up at a house. She has the shine, tells her. FBI agent knocks. He gets popped in the head.
Right.
She runs in alone and apprehends the guy who's just sitting on a bed surrendering.
Right.
It wasn't Nicolas Cage. That was a little misleading in the trailers. I thought this was going to be the scene where they first catch Nicolas Cage, and I'm glad they didn't, because I was like, well, dang, they're catching him super early.
So you thought we were going to go backwards?
What is the rest of this going to be about? No,
just a random guy.
I guess that is just what gets her the job with Blair Underwood.
Yes. So we kind of fast track to the next, and we're not gonna go for scene for scene, but the next time we see her, she is in a car. It's the scene from the trailer where she's in a car with Blair Underwood and his partner, and he's giving her a rundown of, you know, who Longlegs is, how he's been killing people for like 30 years. There's no signs of forced injury. They cannot figure out how he's doing it, and they have included her in this because it's clear she has some way to tell how, like, what's going on. So they want her to help them with the Longlegs case.
So Blair Underwood plays Agent Carter.
Yep.
There is Michelle Choi Lee, who plays Agent Browning, who's Blair Underwood's partner.
Yes.
So they are with Micah Monroe. They're taking her to their first Longlegs crime scene for Micah Monroe's character.
Yes.
Because they've been investigating. He's been killing people across 10 families in 30 years,
yes,
they say.
I think so.
All families. The forensics show that he's never there when the murders take place.
And it seems like it's the dad that kills the family and then kills himself.
So it's looking a little Amityville-ish, all of the murders. It looks like the dad goes crazy, kills the family, then kills himself, which is Amityville horror-esque.
And they're all very, like, you know, standard. Dad works at a church. Dad works at the school. Mom works at a church type family. So nothing that would allude to these families being like crazy. And
I wonder if that's intentional. I wonder if that was a director's choice, because we know Oz Perkins is a horror nepo. So maybe giving Micah Monroe the shine was deliberate, because that harkens back to like Stephen King stuff.
Okay. I think it's hilarious you are officially calling it the shine, by the way.
It's the shine.
Like, this is not a Stephen King movie.
It's clearly,
but it is very similar. Like in how it works, I feel like it's very similar. So because they don't ever say, like, girl, you were psychic. But she definitely has a way of knowing things and figuring things out. So they bring her onto the case. They start sharing details with her. And here comes the first, Cheryl is going to have to cover her eyes moments. Because she's in this room, she's at the police station.
Yeah, so they say Nicolas Cage leaves letters everywhere.
Yes.
A weird font or weird language that is they can't decipher,
right?
But he always signs it Longlegs, and they give her, because she has the shine, and they kind of acknowledge that she's kind of like psychic.
He says the word psychic, but he don't really like believe. He's like, are you like psychic or something? She's like, I don't know, sir, because she's very awkward.
They give the letters for her to figure out, and then there's the scene you're talking about with the
so she's in this dimly lit police room.
Office?
She's got all her evidence spread out or whatever. She looky. Now she's in the center, and the frame is super wide, and then off in the left side of the corner of the screen, a figure appears that looks like a freaking horned devil.
Yeah, it's about like a 7 foot tall man.
It's as tall as the room, but it's got horns. And if you blink, you miss it. Yeah. And I leaned over to you, said, did you see that thing in the corner? You was like, oh, no, I missed it. Because it shows up and then it disappears. And I was like, oh,
so it looks
snap.
Like a 7 foot tall man is in the corner with horns. He's got like 4 horns, it looks like.
I don't like it. I'm not even Googling to see what it was supposed to be.
7 horns. He's got 7 horns.
Oh.
And we don't see what he looks like. He has no face.
It's just the outline.
It's just the outline of a figure.
Yeah.
And I think the horns you see, the horns are the only thing that's not total black.
You
but
can
the
definitely
man is total black.
You can definitely see horns.
Yeah.
For sure.
This is what I missed.
You did.
Because I was looking at Micah Monroe looking at the evidence.
Exactly.
And I'm looking behind Micah Monroe.
And this is where I knew, okay, so all these wide shots, I'm going to have to be like, oh, God, what is it in the corner?
Yeah. So Micah Monroe ends up, her and Blair Underwood go out for drinks.
Yes.
She tells him what she's found so far based on the evidence, which is what we just said. He doesn't appear to be at the scenes of crime.
Right.
She thinks that he has an accomplice that's doing it. She thinks that
he got help.
Whoever is actually murdering it, the murders take place in the home. There's never any forced entry. Whoever is doing the murders is in the house. And Longlegs stays outside the house.
And she's thinking that maybe it's somebody they know.
Right.
You know, that's coming in and he's telling them what to do once they get inside.
So they're planning to seize that it's Nicolas Cage, and they're planning to seize that it's an accomplice. Now, at this point, my mind is the accomplice is whatever demon figure was in the corner. Because they clearly don't have any trouble getting into rooms. So that was my initial thought. So she takes Blair Underwood home after they've had some drinks. Blair Underwood's wasted. It looks like this is a frequent thing for him.
Yes, cop routine.
He shows up at home. His wife and daughter are kind of disappointed and waiting for him. It seems like he typically goes out, gets wasted, doesn't call, comes back super late.
Right, because he grows up and says, oh no, the lights is on, I've been caught.
Right. So she meets his wife. She's cool. She meets the daughter, Mrs. Ruby Rose. I thought that they call her Miss Ruby Rose.
Yeah,
that's
that was
funny.
Cute.
She meets the daughter. The daughter asks her kid questions that a kid would ask.
It's the scene from the trailer where she was like, "Do you say are you scared being an FBI agent or lady FBI agent? Is it hard or whatever?" So it's that scene from the trailer.
And the daughter invites her to her birthday party. She says, "You want to come to my party?" She's like, "Sure." She'll come to her party. Yep. And we assume that it'll take place at some point later in the movie.
Right.
A couple of notes that I had. We get to Micah Monroe's house.
We do. And this is a scene we see from the trailer where eventually we get the scene where she's standing outside her house. So this is that part.
Now, Micah Monroe clearly lives in the woods.
And my note says, why does she live in the middle of nowhere?
She lives in the woods.
Why?
So my note is,
why?
Was everything in the 90s scary? Because
it's dark.
Everybody's house looks scary.
Trees.
Nobody turns any of the lights on, if it's night.
It's dimly lit everywhere. And then there's the scene where she locks up her house. She's at her desk looking over her materials or whatever. And then she hears a bang bang, like a loud bang at the door.
Well, before that, we get her first phone call with her mom.
Oh, yeah.
So it's clear that her and her mom have some type of estranged relationship.
It's they
have very dry conversations on the phone.
Super dry.
And her mom asks her if she's been saying her prayers, and just checking up on her. She tells her mom about her day and that she's working on a real difficult case. And her mom, I guess her and her mom's conversation seemed dry, but her mom's just kind of like, take care of yourself. Don't work too hard.
Now,
blah, blah, blah.
right. And this was the part I was not yet. Actually, no, not yet. Because there's another conversation she has with her mom. It's exactly the same. It's very dry. It's very like, make sure they don't work you too hard, whatever. She's like, oh, mom, I'm on a big case. And I'm just like, why do we keep calling mom and having these dry conversations? I'm going to note this down.
Yeah. She's at the house. She actually deciphers the language.
She does.
In Longlegs' letters. And they are connected to the Bible.
Yes.
In the book of Revelation. And she reads an excerpt from the book of Revelation about the devil. About the devil. He is the man with 7 horns and 7 crowns on each horn. And that's when she discovers that Nicolas Cage is a member of some type of satanic occultism
situation. Yep.
That's the motivation behind his murders. She hears a weird whooshing sound, and it sounds like a cuckoo from Nicolas Cage in the house. She looks outside and sees a figure sitting out in the moonlight outside of her house.
So not the figure from the police station. This looked like a man.
This looks like a man. It looks like the same figure that was in the passenger seat of that car.
Yeah,
cloaked in black.
Yeah, it does.
So she runs out to see. Clearly, it's not there.
Clearly, first of all, why are we running outside in the middle of the night?
She's got a gun. I'll give her that. So she's better than some who run out with nothing.
Fair.
And investigate
or just like a bat.
She at least has something.
Right.
So she runs out there with the Thule. While she's out there searching the darkness, we can see Nicolas Cage in her house. He is walking past her desk where she just was sitting. He walks past her living room window.
So at this point, when she goes back in the house, we like, Where he at?
Well, so the first...
At least that's what I thought.
The first unsettling part, after she hears the cuckoo in the door and the loud door knock, she goes to look at the door, and the chain is undone. So when we see... Yeah, you didn't notice that? When we see a shot of the door vibrating because somebody's outside knocking at the door. And when she goes to look out the peephole, the chain on the door is already undone.
Is that only because he knocked on it so hard? Because how? Oh, maybe the devil.
Or because exactly.
Oh,
maybe the horned figure let him in the house. Because how did the chain get undone if he's knocking at the door?
You're right.
So she notices the chain is undone, and she goes outside. That's when she notices Nick Cage has been in the house. So she runs back in the house.
Right.
And
she's scared. By the way,
he's left a birthday card for her with more strange writing, and it says, "Don't open until the 14th."
Yes. And I guess one thing I don't know if this scene was before or after, but we learned that the similarities between all of the murders are that the daughters of the families have birthdays of the same day.
Yeah.
Yes. Of the 14th, right? I can't remember.
Yeah.
Something like that.
So she takes what she's found to Blair Underwood. They're at the next crime scene now.
But she doesn't ever, did you realize she don't ever mention that card showed up? She just says, I figured it out.
She also doesn't mention her history. So
well, that's because she didn't, we'll get to that part, but that's because she didn't remember it. But I was like, why did she not tell Blair Underwood that, oh, by the way, I was at home, somebody knocked on my door, I went outside, came back, and it was a card on my desk.
Yeah. So
never mentioned it.
And yeah, even when he starts to mention her name, and Blair Underwood is like, how does Longlegs know?
Because now Longlegs is specifically saying Lee Harker.
Yeah, I'm looking for Lee Harker.
And it's like, girl, something is going on here.
So Blair calls. They go to the next crime scene because he has killed somebody else.
He's killed another family.
And that's where Michael Moreau gives the rules, where he kills people he kills families.
Yeah.
Every 14th.
Right.
He murders families based on if the daughter's birthday is on the 14th of a month.
Yeah.
Or he will kill
like 6 days before
or after.
Yes.
But the daughter's birthday is always on the 14th.
Right.
So he'll kill you either on the day, 6 days before, or 6 days after.
Right.
And it creates an algorithm. She
figures
it out, and she draws like a triangle. She said that it makes an inverted triangle based on the dates that he has done the previous murders and the dates for the future murders. And it connects to the 9 circles of hell.
Yeah. We get the book.
And that's when they find out it's clearly satanic.
It is.
So they find the next crime
scene. But Blair Underwood is not convinced that it's got anything supernatural happening.
Right.
She seems to think that his accomplice, because she mentioned something about dolls, and in other religions, dolls used to have like powers, and Blair Underwood like, girl, no. Because
we know that he is also a doll maker.
Yes.
Because there are dolls that are usually found at the scenes of the crime. So Longlegs is a doll maker.
Yeah.
And she is telling Blair Underwood, I think it has something to do with witchcraft and the occult because dolls are used for that. Blair Underwood thinks that he's a Satanist, but he doesn't think he actually has access to black magic.
Yeah.
And he's not convinced that it is an accomplice.
Yes, she's the only one who thinks it's more than one person.
Right. She's not convinced that it's an accomplice.
Right.
But he still doesn't know how he's committing the murders. So we get another crime scene. Longlegs has left another letter. Thought this was interesting. She deciphers it, and it says down low.
Yes. Yep.
Which down low, too slow. I think he was trying to let them know that I killed these people. You're late.
Okay.
Because he left it at the scene of the crime.
Right, and when they go back there, they are definitely not alive.
So it's another setup of the husband has killed the wife and children.
Yep.
And committed suicide in the garage and killed himself.
Yes, and the family been there for like a month.
Yeah, the family has been there for a month.
So they don't find them, I feel like, until he's ready for them to find them.
And we want to add context. It's the 90s. So this is not the era of social media. So people can be dead in their house for a month and you just don't know.
And I don't know. Well, let me take that back. I think they only find them when somebody says, hey, so-and-so, I haven't heard from so-and-so. And then they show up.
Blair Underwood says the reason nobody came to check is because they told their neighbors, another 90s thing. They told their neighbors when they were going to be gone for a long period of time.
Right,
So nobody
thought they were going to be home. Right. Yep.
But now it's stinky and full of dead people.
And maggots.
Crime scene wasn't that bad. I've seen worse crime scenes than 7.
I was going to say 7 had way worse depictions of people.
The way they were amping up, whipping off the cover on that.
Nah.
On those dead people.
It was another part of the movie setting up a big tension moment and you being like,
no, they're just people covered in slime and
maggots. Okay,
maggots.
But you don't know when the next one coming, so you just on edge.
I expected like blood and dismemberment. No, it wasn't that. It was just...
It was not very gory.
I'm not even sure how he killed them.
No, they don't say that.
Because they didn't look brutalized, but they were also like decomposed. So
they very much was... They was peeling apart.
Yeah, so... She calls him. We get another phone call with her mom. This might be the weird phone call that you mentioned when she's talking to her mom in the hallway.
I was convinced something was up with mom at this point. Yes.
Yeah. So my next note was, it's the dolls.
It's the doll. And we haven't seen a doll. Well, have we seen a doll yet? Because in one of the scenes they go to...
We've seen Nicolas Cage at this point. We saw him.
We have. Putting a cover over a doll, I think.
Yes.
Okay. And then they actually find a doll when they are trying to like find the next. So they're trying to get ahead this time. They're like, let's try to find the next murder. They find out that the first girl from the first family he murdered was still alive. One of the murders
took place at a farmhouse.
Yes, back in the 70s.
Right.
And the girl was not at home, so she survived. But now she's sitting in a mental institution. So they're like, well, let's go to the house first. Then let's go to see the girl. They get to the house, and this is where we get the scene of them wiping off the hay from the trailer. And there's like a cross. They get under the cross, and there's a doll that you thought was a person.
So I thought the twist was going to be that he kills the girls and turns them into dolls.
Okay,
because they look very human-like.
They're very realistic looking dolls.
They were 100% porcelain dolls. They did have human hair. We're not sure where he got the hair from.
That's never explained to us.
It isn't the hair of the current victim. Maybe the hair of the previous victims. And it wasn't Kiernan Shipka's hair. But the doll had some type of hair. So they take the doll to forensics. And this is very interesting.
And this is when you was like, it's definitely the dolls.
This is when I knew it was definitely the dolls. And I thought the dolls were coming to life and killing people.
Okay.
So they uncover the doll, take it to forensics.
Yep.
And inside the doll's head, there is a big silver orb.
Yep.
And it's empty. It's just a ball made of metal.
The corner says it's empty.
It emits this weird frequency of sound when you hold the metal detector.
And it's not even quiet.
It's not even quiet. It's like an ear ringing sound.
It's pretty loud.
But the forensic guy says something very interesting. He says when he listened to the ball, it reminded him of his ex-wife.
He said it was like she was kept calling his name, right?
Yeah, he could hear his ex-wife. And that was interesting. I was like, oh, okay, so this explains why men are killing their families, because the ball makes you angry.
Yes.
The ball is what's creating the Amityville effect.
I was going to say, family. I'm trying to think of another horror movie but it's Amityville, where some steel object is telling the person what to do.
And I think because the director is a Nepo baby, he deliberately did that. I think he deliberately seeded in the Stephen King and the Amityville stuff.
Oh,
and the Shining stuff.
I can see that. Sure.
So yeah, my next note is it's the dolls.
I think, and I guess it's okay that they let us know that early on.
As a detective, you got to give us answers to something.
Right, you got to give us pieces to the build up at that point.
I still wasn't sure if it was supernatural. I'm like, can metal do that, or can orbs do that? Can you like create orbs that make a sound that drive people crazy?
At this point, I was kind of like, something's up with the mom.
Obviously, the devil keeps showing up in the corner.
And let me tell you something. After the first time, I was done with the devil. Yep. I was done. I was like, I know he's there. I don't know when he gonna show up. So anytime they do a super wide shot, my eyes was like, I don't need to see this.
One of my notes is, I don't know who Antlers is, but Antlers gotta go.
Antlers kept popping up, and you'd be like, there he is. You see him? And I'll be like, actually, I don't, because one of my eyes is closed.
Because at this point now, I'm looking for him. I'm looking for him in every shot, in every background.
They did that on purpose.
And it's weird because he just appears, and then you literally watch him dissolve like he's vapor.
Yeah, and he shows up again, and this time I actually kind of saw it because I wasn't ready. When we see Longlegs in the basement, wherever he is, he shows up
in the corner.
Yeah, and I was like, God dang it, I didn't want to see that.
He doesn't speak. He doesn't move. His eyes don't glow.
Disappears.
But he shows up and he just evaporates. And so it's clearly not it's clearly not somebody seeing it in their head.
Which is what we kind of thought. We were like, oh, what if it's just somebody's like mentally unstable and they keep seeing this figure? But no,
he's present.
He shows up in different
because no matter who's in the room, it's in the room.
He taking an Uber to where he needs to go to be in corners at undetected places.
Right.
And I was like, I don't need to see him no more. I'm done.
So after they catch him.
Yes.
They catch Nicolas Cage.
Yep.
Because they figure out that Lee's mom made a police report when she was a kid about a stranger who had visited her.
And we getting a call back to the cold open.
And the reason they looked into that is because Longlegs started leaving stuff directly addressed for Lee. So Blair Underwood's like, he knows who you are.
Girl.
Your mom made a police report about a strange man showing up at her doorstep.
Girl.
Your birthday is on the 14th.
Girl.
And the phone call she made was the day before your birthday. So he was like, go to your mom
and find out what the heck is going on here.
Yeah, and Lee's like, I don't remember any of this.
And she and it don't look like she's lying about that either.
So he's like, well, go find out. So she goes to her mom. Her mom's cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs.
Of course. She's like a hoarder.
Yeah. Her mom is clearly some type of like super religious Christian person, and that's the household that Lee grew up in, which makes sense why she doesn't talk to her mom as often.
And here I was like, okay, here's crazy mom, and now these weird phone calls make sense because mom ain't all the way there.
Something that comes back up later, her mom, when she goes to see her mom asks her again, have you been saying your prayers? And Lee says, actually, no, I've never said my prayers. My prayers scare me. And something that does come up later is her mom says, your prayers don't actually do anything.
Yeah, her mom was like, and starts laughing like, oh, ha, 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 ha. You know, prayers actually don't save us. And I'm like, then why would you?
Yeah.
Why would you be asking her that?
Which that comes back later, we'll touch on. But her mom asks her, her mom tells her prayers actually don't do anything. Prayers don't save you or protect you from anything.
Mom is a suspect to me at this point.
So Lee tries to ask her about the police report she made. Mom doesn't want to give it up because clearly there's something to give.
Now, mom do look like she's lying.
Yeah, mom looks like she's
when Lee asked her, you know, what do you remember about my birthday? She's like, nothing, girl. Nothing happened. What you remember? Oh, you don't remember nothing either? Good.
So the mom is played by Alicia Witt. She has a very, very, very long television history. She's been in a lot of stuff. The Sopranos, Nashville. She's been in Law and Order. Of course. Several different iterations of it.
You ain't an actor unless you ain't in Law and Order.
And CSI Miami.
Okay.
But the Alicia Witt, the actress, is only 48. They made her look much older in this movie.
She looked like she's in her 60s.
But she did say that the role that she played in this movie was very emotionally taxing, and she does not think she will see the finished film.
Oh.
So, which... Yes.
Okay. You know what? I had to think about it. I was like... Okay.
Not gonna drag her for that.
Because we're gonna get to why that is here in a second.
But her mom tells her, I ain't got nothing to tell you, but if you want to find answers, I'm a hoarder. So everything that I had from your childhood is in your room. Yes. So Micah Monroe finds a picture of Longlegs because...
And then she starts tweaking.
Because in the flashback...
Tweaking.
The flashback was her. She was the little girl in the cold open.
Yes.
Who he first appeared to. And she took a Polaroid picture of him.
Yes.
But she has no memories of seeing him for the first time.
No.
So she has a clear as day picture of his face.
And he looks crazy.
Takes it to Blair Underwood, and the next scene they've caught him.
And he's standing at a bus stop, which I was confused about because I was like, how did he know they was coming?
It was her. She has the shine. She just knew where he was.
Oh, okay, sure. Because, and the devil told him... You better go. They coming for you. Okay, sure.
Because that was her. That's the one thing that was consistent. She just knew where stuff was without having to look for it. The shine would just pull her in a direction.
Yeah,
so I think that's how they found him in the middle of nowhere.
Okay, because he was definitely had his bags packed at the bus stop.
And it's the 90s. And how did you just find this man in the middle of nowhere at a bus stop?
It was very strange. But they pick him up and they take him back to the police station.
And he asks for Lee.
Yeah.
So she goes to see him. And when she sees him, this is the first time we're getting a scene with Lee and Longlegs together.
You're right.
He tells her happy birthday.
He sings
happy birthday.
He says it in a very strange...
His voice is very strange and eerie and off-putting and skin crawly. That's probably the spookiest thing about it is his voice.
Probably. He looks scary. He sounds scarier than he looks. I'll put it that way.
But he says a bunch of stuff about Satan.
He's clearly a Satanist or whatever they call themselves.
And he says his job is done. He said now he's finished. He said he was tasked with bringing her here and now he's finished.
You're like, what does that mean?
So he kills himself by repeatedly bashing his face up against the table, the interrogation table.
Totally had my eyes covered for this particular scene.
Had her eyes covered this whole scene.
Because your first reaction was, oh, and I was like, nope, I'm not.
Because
I'm not.
He continuously beats his head on the table until his nose is literally broken from his face and hanging on by its skin. And we just see blowholes.
See, I don't need to keep that image in my head.
And teeth falling out of his mouth. It's very bloody, and blood is spraying all across the room.
Yeah, I saw the teeth on the table.
And then we get a long shot of just his dead face with his blowholes exposed and bleeding.
No, thank you. I guess that's the goriest part of the movie.
That was enough. Antlers didn't show up though, and I was looking for them.
Of course, because they've set you up to look for antlers.
The room was too bright. That's why antlers didn't show up.
He don't like the sun. Sure. He don't like fluorescence.
So he's dead, and Blair Underwood's pissed because he's like, well, you were the one who led us to him. We caught him. And
you said it was an accomplice. Right. And he never, now we don't know because he's dead now. Yep. So he was more upset than I thought he would be, actually.
Yeah. So Blair Underwood was super upset. Mm-hmm. So while Blair Underwood is having a pout, Agent Browning, his sidekick, takes Micah Monroe back to the house
to ask Mama some questions.
Yeah, because they want to bring Mom in because now Mom is their last lead,
right? To whatever's going on with Longlegs. Well, what was going on because now he's dead.
And this is where it pops off.
It like we zoom pretty much the rest of the movie, honestly.
So Lee goes into the house to look for her mom. The door is unlocked, and my thought was no forced entry. Her mom's dead.
Oh, you thought Mom was dead?
Because if the door was unlocked, and they keep saying whenever he shows up, it's no forced entry. Her birthday was technically on the 14th. Yeah. And my thought was the devil got her because her birthday, she's technically a surviving victim. So her mom should still be a target because they're related. And the house was empty. I thought she was dead. Okay.
I didn't think Mom, at this point, I'm thinking Mom guilty. So I'm thinking Mom's the accomplice at this point. That's what I thought.
So while Lee's in the house looking for her mom, the house is empty. She looks outside, and before she notices, we get a shot of Agent Browning sitting in the car.
Chilling.
And Agent Browning's
minding her
business. There's nothing strange. And then the shot cuts to behind Agent Browning. And in the back of the car, you can see her mom, Lee's mom, dressed up in her greatest Christian get up for
her
the 90s.
nun outfit,
her nunnery gear, and a shotgun. And she blows Agent Browning's head off twice with the shotgun.
When she comes into frame of the wide shot, I was like, oh God.
Yeah, it was very spooky.
Oh God. I was like, is that her mama?
She kills Agent Browning
twice. She shoots her on one side, then takes her behind around the car and shoots her again.
For good measure.
I was like, I knew Mom was no good. I knew it.
So Michael Monroe runs outside to find her mom. The mom is now standing in the backyard with a doll that looks like Lee when she was a little girl.
The doll's back.
So which we never saw Lee's doll.
We didn't. We didn't know Lee had a doll.
That must have been what was sitting in the passenger seat of Nicolas Cage's car was Lee's doll.
Yeah, you're right.
So Mom blows the head off of Lee's doll, and Lee passes out. But we see weird smoke coming from the inside of the sphere.
It's like a little vapor.
Yeah. And Lee passes out, and we get a exposition flashback.
Mom tell us the whole rundown.
And what is the rundown?
The rundown is basically that Longlegs visited Mom and Lee and said, I got a doll for you. Do you want it? And they were like, sure, sir. So they get the doll in the house, and Longlegs gives Mom a choice. Either do what I say or don't do what I say, and I'm going to kill you and your daughter or something like that. So Mom is like, no, I want my daughter to live because earlier Mom says to Lee, you should be grateful because you got the chance to grow up. And we all like, what do you mean?
Right.
What she's referring to is the fact that Longlegs showed up, gave her a choice, and her choice was to let her daughter live and grow up. But as a price for that was that Mom had to take these dolls that Longlegs made and give them to random families. We don't know why, which families got picked.
The 14.
Okay, there you go. The birthdays. Based on the birthdays, Mom would take these dolls that Longlegs made, give them to families, and inside the doll was basically directions from the devil.
Yeah, so the
villain is literally the devil.
Yeah, so it's literally the devil. It's frailty. And I leaned over to you. It's like, it's frailty. It's reverse. But instead of God telling Bill Paxton to kill people, it's the devil telling Nicolas Cage.
It's horns, y'all.
Yeah.
It's horns. Horns is literally
Antlers is the villain.
behind all of this. Now, normally in supernatural movies, it's like a voice of, a ghost of, a villain of. No. It's just him.
It's the man downstairs. And they say it several times. They say the man downstairs.
And they mean like hell.
Yes.
Literal hell.
The ninth circle.
All circles, actually.
So, so I thought that was strange. She blows up the doll's head. We get a flashback.
Yeah.
And essentially...
She got it. Mom, go to the next family.
Yeah. So, and that's why the crime scenes have no forced entry, because the mom shows up at the door and says, "You've won a doll from the church."
Yes, because mom's in her fresh nun gear.
And it's the 90s and the 70s and the 80s. And
I guess people thought that was okay.
Yeah. It's Oregon, small communities, churchy, sure.
With no black people.
No.
Well,
yeah. So
kind of.
One of the reverends was a casualty of one of the family murders.
Because he showed up at the wrong time.
Right, when the husband was killing everybody else.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're right.
But yeah, the doll basically has special instructions in the orb, black magic.
And the dolls don't move, y'all.
Yeah,
the dolls. And I was waiting for a doll to like blink, raise his hand.
Open its eyes.
Do a little one of these.
Yeah.
No, the doll just sits there like...
It's just full of the black evil spheres that give off the devil's frequency.
Exactly.
So while she's passed out, the mom goes to deliver the next doll.
Yeah.
And we're back at Blair Underwood's house.
And we know it as soon as we roll up.
Because...
Actually, no. The devil calls.
Yes. So Lee wakes up. She's in the house by herself.
Yes.
The mom is gone.
Mama ain't there.
And the phone is ringing.
And it ain't whoever's calling ain't hanging up.
Lee answers the phone, and it's literally the devil who says, "You're late for Miss Ruby Rose's birthday."
And he don't listen, and it don't sound as pleasant as Jay just said it. It sounds real creepy. And I'm like, why is the devil calling collect right now?
Yeah.
What is he doing?
So the devil calls her and says she's late for the birthday.
Gotta get to the party, girl.
Micah hops in the car, gets to Blair Underwood's house, and mom's car is already there.
So we already know.
She knocks on the door. Blair Underwood and the wife answer. They seem perfectly normal.
They didn't to me.
They seem fine.
No. Because last we saw Blair Underwood, he was pissed at Lee. And the next time we see him, he like, come on then, Lee.
They answer the door, smiling and greeting her like they would, like a person answers the door for a birthday party.
No.
But what was weird to me was the way he closed the door after she got in the house.
He closed it like
they answered it fine for me. But when the way he closed the door, looked around and closed the door.
He looked real annoyed.
So Michael Monroe gets to the living room. Blair Underwood, the wife, the daughter are sitting in the living room. Her mom is there. And the daughter is sitting next to and hugging up on a doll that is made just to look just like the daughter.
I'm sitting in the theater like, here we go.
Here
we go.
Blair Underwood is already under the Amityville effects. He looks mad and angry.
You don't think they all were at that point? Well,
yeah, they all were. But he was gone.
Yeah,
so the mom is just sitting there because she knows what's about to happen.
Oh my God.
Michael Monroe tries to tell Blair Underwood, like, it's my mom. My mom is the accomplice, but he's already gone. And the mom tells her, the mom is like, it's too late. He's gone. She's gone. He's gonna kill the wife, and he's gonna come back.
Because according to the instructions that the devil gave her, like you have for every family she delivers a doll to, she has to deliver the doll, and then she has to sit there and watch them do it to make sure they actually do it. So mom has been doing this for the last 30 years, and she's cuckoo. And at this point, she's just like, I'm doing this for you, Lee. I wanted you to live your life. And Lee's like, no, girl, this is crazy.
So this part was this was one of the most unsettling when the wife is like, okay, it's time to cut the cake. And Blair Underwood tells her,
agitated.
I gotta go. Blair Underwood's like, I'm gonna go and get something to cut the cake. And the wife like nervously laughs and cries for a second before fixing herself. And she's like, you said you gotta go get something to cut. And he takes the wife's hand. The wife says, we'll be right back. We're gonna go get to the kitchen to get the cake ready. And he takes the wife's hand, and she says, we'll be right back. And Blair Underwood says, no, I'll be back. You'll still be in the kitchen.
And I was just like, somebody do something.
Somebody do something.
Nobody does it. Mom obviously is not doing anything because she like, this is what I came to do.
Daughter is under the doll spell.
Exactly. So she's literally just petting the doll. And then Lee
Michael Monroe is just freaking out.
Is having a moment of trying to like talking to him like, girl, he's about to take his wife to the kitchen
and kill her.
Which is exactly
And we hear him stabbing her to death in the kitchen, and Lee just does nothing. That was weird. She kind of just is still freaking out.
I was like, girl, we are, and we hear it. Mm-hmm. We hear him killing
brutal murder in the kitchen.
The wife. And
we don't see it.
Right. Thank God. Because I was like, do we have to see him kill his family? I don't want to see that.
After murdering his wife, Bloody Blair Underwood emerges from the kitchen to come after the daughter.
Yeah.
And Lee kills him. She shoots him to death to stop him.
Finally.
And the mom still doesn't move.
No.
Until Lee is about to shoot the doll's head off. Mm-hmm. And then the mom comes at her with like this satanic looking ritual knife.
Yeah.
And Lee blows her head off too.
Yeah, she popped one right in the center of the two eyeballs.
Thus ending the cycle.
We think, because then she tries to pop the doll, but she ran out of bullets.
Yeah, and and Antlers is in the room too for this too.
Oh, did I miss Antlers here?
Yeah, Antlers was like standing in the dining room.
God.
Yeah.
No, literally, thank God.
So she tries to blow the doll's head off, but she's out of bullets.
Did he do the disappear? Or did he stay around for longer?
He evaporated.
Oh, okay.
When she realized she's out of bullets to blow the doll's head off, she tells the girl, like, we just got to go.
And the movie goes off.
And the movie ends.
So I would like to think that she went back to the car, reloaded, and finished the job.
Well, there's nobody else to do the dolls unless, I guess the devil can just recruit somebody else.
Hello. Well, and actually, I guess, does it even matter if she pops the dolls? Because he could just find
somebody else to make them.
Crazy.
Yeah. Because clearly the dolls were still being made when Nicolas Cage was dead. So
somebody had to make them.
The mom might have still also been making the dolls.
I knew it was mom. By that second phone call.
I thought mom would be a victim. Because she lived. Anytime you live, I think the killer's going to come back for you.
No.
But I didn't expect the mom to be a killer, but I appreciated the twist.
I appreciated the twist.
And it made sense.
Well, even though I kind of guessed it, I wasn't thinking that. Wasn't thinking that mom was like, I don't know.
And it makes sense if you removed all the supernatural elements and just make it Nicolas Cage and mom are both cuckoo.
Yeah.
I could see how they could pull that off.
You could still think it would work.
I could see how they could fool people with the church line.
Yeah,
because people trust the church.
Mm-hmm. Like, so you're saying they could have made this whole movie and left Antlers out of it.
It could have been like Seven.
Yeah.
Where Seven ended up not being supernatural, even though the murders were very gruesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, it could have.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. I agree with that.
What do we like about this movie and what we didn't like?
It's hard for me to judge a horror movie because I don't watch horror very often. But I like the fact that it kept you on the edge of your seat the whole time, where you thought you was about to be scared out of your mind, but you actually weren't. And then you thought that you thought that the scene was coming, but it actually wasn't. I actually appreciate that even though the villain was the devil. Mm-hmm. We didn't have to see it, some sort of weird, creepy, contorted looking thing. I like that they kept it. I actually like that they kept it simple.
The shadowy figure was the only demonic imagery.
Yes.
So it wasn't heavy on imagery.
I appreciate the subtlety for somebody who can't handle too much.
So. We really didn't get that many gross crime scenes. Most of the crime scenes were covered up in sheets and you saw blood stains, but no corpses or mutilation or anything like that.
And the only thing I say I didn't like was that maybe I set myself up for this. I thought it would be more like Seven, and it wasn't Seven enough, but it's a different movie. So that's not really something I didn't like. But maybe that's just the way from the reviews and marketing, I thought it would be more like a, Seven, we got crime scene after crime scene after crime scene. It's more of a cat and mouse and chasing and clues. It's very the only clues we got really was the orb and the letters, and that was it. So it wasn't very detective heavy enough for it to be like a detective film like people were saying it was.
It was more detective heavy than it was horror, and that's fine.
Yeah.
I don't have to be scared to enjoy a horror movie.
I don't need to.
Good writing does that.
Yeah.
My issues are with the third act. I felt like the third act was just a little rushed with at the point where
mom starts explaining,
Lee blacks out.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
That felt a little rushed, but I was satisfied with the ending. Will stick with me because just how unsettling it was, just watching everything play out.
Well, and I felt bad. I felt bad for mom having to go through all that for all these years because she had to sit there and if honestly, she didn't do it, she said they was gonna burn.
It was the devil, so she had a real reason to fear not doing it.
She did. That's why.
So not helping with the murders. She had a real valid fear
she said that
to continue doing it.
She said he said that we would burn for all eternity, and she like, I don't want.
And it was actually the devil, so
right.
I'm not gonna be mad at her for believing it.
So I wonder if she got to go like to the cool part since she.
No, she definitely still worked with the devil.
Okay. I'm about to say, did she get like the slightly hot side because Lee killed her and she like was trying to do her job? I don't know. Just a thought.
She could have at any moment turned the gun on Nicolas Cage and got him and caught him by surprise, but who knows? But I had an issue with the rushed pace of the third act.
Okay.
I had an issue with her not stopping Blair Underwood.
Oh.
You only get like 3 seconds max to freak out at the end of a horror movie before you gotta like.
Well, one of my notes from earlier was like, she's scared. Like to be an FBI agent, she is scared. Like not scary. Like she is scared of like shooting a gun, going into a house. She like shaking, breathing real bad. I'm like, girl, who you about to take out because you are scared?
I think because she has the shine, and now that she knows the devil's real, I mean, in this context, physically in the room,
dang, that sucks.
Disappearing and appearing. That's probably why she's always so nervous and freaked out.
Yeah, and what's interesting is that I guess as the audience, only we see him. I guess it's not implied that they see him.
They do not see him,
right?
But I think that's just to let us know that he's there. It's very strange why they always show him. It would have made more sense if they showed him more towards the end, but he was there from the beginning. I
think they're supposed to imply that like he's always there.
Which, true.
Because like she had a doll, so I don't know.
Yeah.
Sure.
And my only other issue was Blair Underwood it should not have been a mystery that Blair Underwood's family was going to be a target.
Right, because his daughter's birthday, like we mentioned in the beginning.
You're the lead detective on a case investigating a serial killer who kills families based on if their daughter's birthday is on the 14th.
And your daughter's birthday is.
And the serial killer you're investigating also knows your partner by name and your daughter's birthday is on the 14th. I thought it was very strange that they took no precautions.
A little bit of a plot hole there.
They should have seen the mom coming from a mile away.
I don't know if they should have seen mom or they should have known that we need some extra security.
Yeah, they should have known from a mile away.
And why would they I guess it was the time. So like, well, why would they take that doll? Period. Anybody. But that's just me and not
probably just being within proximity of that ball, it starts to work. Probably answering the door was the mistake. As soon as you answer the door, the ball starts making the
tweaking
noise. Yeah,
maybe. Sure, we'll go with that.
But those are my only issues.
Yeah.
Okay, so is there anything you would change if you would? I would make Blair Underwood's character just a little bit smarter.
Okay. Nah, I don't think I would change anything. I'm hard to find something wrong with a horror movie. If you scare me, that's enough.
Yeah. So who would like this movie? Who would we recommend it to? I would recommend this movie to anybody who is a fan of the classical horrors, The Shining, Amityville Horror.
Yeah, okay.
If you are a fan of those classic horrors, Psycho, Hitchcockian-esque
anytime films, where somebody's possessed.
Or spooky, or there's like a mystery of some sort.
Yeah.
If you're a fan of Nicolas Cage, you're absolutely going to love this.
Yeah.
This is going to be a Nicolas Cage like you've never seen before in anything else.
He did really good.
Yeah.
He did. I mean, it was just kind of, I was just looking at him like, what is on my screen? There's one particular scene where he starts singing. I laughed at that because I was like, this is the most outrageous thing I've ever seen him do.
If you're a fan of horror, but you're not a fan of jump scares, this is a great entry point for you. It doesn't have any jump scares. Well, not entry point, but this is a great film for you. If you like horror films but don't want to be terrified and afraid to go to sleep at night, this is a great film to watch for you.
Sure. I went to sleep eventually.
If you are not a fan of horror films, but are intrigued by the marketing around this film, definitely watch it. I think this is 100%. Like, if you're one of those people that can only watch horror in the house during the daytime, this perfectly fits. Most of this movie is in the daytime. There's like 2 nighttime scenes in this whole movie.
Now, I would counter that and say, I don't know if I would watch this in my house.
I would watch this in my house. Yeah.
No, because listen, if I turned around and the light switch, like, if I turned around and this clothes hanger that we got behind you just happened to look like a shadowy figure, I'm out of here.
I guess that goes into it. If you are easily spooked by like ghosts and spirits and stuff, no, you wouldn't like this. But I don't care about like spirits and ghosts.
I will say it from somebody who is. You might be okay.
Some people don't like spirits and ghosts. Like that's their line. Some people only like horror that is tangible and real.
And I am some people. But I will say for me, this level of it wasn't too bad. Like Hereditary freaked me out real bad because it had people contorting and doing like demonic like things. And this one, it's just, you know, your typical getting shot.
Yeah.
And your typical, you know, humans doing normal human things.
Well, you have a horror movie rule where you don't like it if the killer's not a person that can be killed. And this kind of is a mix between two. So the killers are people that can be killed and are killed, but they just happen to be working with the devil. So who can't? So.
Right. And it's just kind of, and that's the supernatural element that I typically can't
it has
do.
Both.
But I think because in this, the supernatural element is not so blatant and gross and gruesome.
Because you can't be afraid of the devil all the time.
Well, that and the fact that covered by the blood of Jesus,
Right.
but also like he doesn't show up that much.
Right. And the devil doesn't technically do it himself. So
Right.
other than just being like the watcher,
Right.
he's not really active.
Right. So, and that's why I was able to handle it like
Yeah.
I was, because he don't like just hang out and be all creepy and be like twicking and all that stuff. He's just like, hey, and then he disappears 2 seconds later. So that's, you're going to have to judge it for yourself, but just take my word for it. You know, daylight. Just if you light on horror, watch it in daylight.
I guess because the devil is everyhere. I don't count it as like a.
He ain't in this podcast room.
I don't count it as like a. I don't count it as like a spirit or anything.
Okay, because it's not like a. What am I trying? It's not like whatever's going on in Cuckoo.
Yeah, like you can't defeat the devil, so you
Right.
can't be too busy worried about how you're gonna fight him out.
Right. It's like
because he's just gonna always be there.
Listen, get underneath my feet,
Right.
and you keep it moving.
Right. So
Yeah. Oh yeah, and I think maybe that's why, because it's not some sort of like fictional, made up weirdness. It's just kind of like
I think because we are very familiar with the devil, that
maybe it's just because like I said, covered by the blood. So I'm just like, I don't care. I don't do whatever you're gonna do.
everybody knows who the devil is. So when you make the devil the villain, it does make it a little less scary.
And maybe that's what it is.
Because the devil is kind of like an omnipresent force in
Right.
like everything, that it's kind of
Right.
like, okay, well, I mean, the devil doesn't come upstairs and do it himself. He's going to send somebody else. So you're more afraid of his agents than you are.
Yeah, and that's a little more tangible.
And I think that's what made Nicolas Cage more spooky.
Yeah.
Okay, favorite line or scene? Mine would be the cold open.
My favorite scene would be when Longlegs sings. I don't even remember. Oh, he was singing about
That's when we get back to the cold open.
Yes.
Scene.
So when Mom is giving us the overview of what happened, there's a scene where Longlegs is singing to the mom to let him into the house, and it's creepy. He sounds crazy, and I was just so mesmerized by how ridiculous the scene was, and I was laughing not because it was like goofy.
He's giving his all,
but because I was like, what?
Like Nicolas Cage goes all in.
He does.
The unhinged
and
nature of this serial killer.
I appreciate giving me a little levity in a horror movie, because I was like, I'm supposed to be scared. I am scared, but I'm also laughing.
Yeah.
I'm conflicted. But that was probably my favorite scene, when he bust out in song in the middle of the snow.
Okay, final words about the movie and our rating.
If you like horror, 100% check it out.
Yeah.
If you are your tolerance for horror is low, I would say check it out in the daylight. If your tolerance for horror, if you are very kind of like, if you only do slashers and stuff and you don't like supernatural, I might stay away from it, only because like it does have that little devil element. But if I can handle it, I feel like most people who watch horror regularly will be fine.
Yeah.
Will be fine.
It's satanic in the way that Seven is.
Yeah.
If
it's not like an Evil Dead Rise, which is
No.
something I would never be able to watch.
No. It's more like dialogue that alludes to black magic, but you don't actually see any black magic take place.
Right. There's no rituals or anything.
It's a very, very well shot movie. Looks great. Great acting.
Agreed.
It's not very scary. So you can definitely watch it if you're not bothered by like spirits.
I
and
give it a 2.5 to 3 on the scary scale for me.
Yeah. On the scary scale,
Yeah.
2.5 to 3 for sure. and on a Nicole Kidman scale, though, I will give it 3.5 Nicole Kidmans.
Oh my God. It's the exact same thing I was going to say.
Yeah.
3.5.
I have to take a Nicole Kidman because I like scary movies.
Yeah.
But watching a scary film for me still does take some emotional preparation. I went in with my brace on, like I'm bracing myself.
Okay.
Be spooked, but have a good time.
And
I feel like I wore my brace for nothing.
I can see that.
I was a little
that.
undersold on the spook and some issues I had with the third act. But other than that, I thought the writing was good. The writing kind of fell apart in the third act just a tidbit. But yeah, that's my rating.
I would say 3.5. I would take 1 off because of the, like you, it's funny to say, but it wasn't super scary. I feel like if it's going to be a horror movie, then I need to be scared. Like people are like, it's on the level of Hereditary. And I'm like, it's not.
Yeah, I don't want to see the marketing did a bad job because they did a great job. They sold this movie.
It may be oversold on terms of how terrifying it was. I will also take half off because I wanted more like the detective part because we're solving a crime. So like give me more pieces and clues and all that. That wasn't a huge part of it, which I thought it was going to be because people were comparing it to 7, which has a lot of that. So yeah, that's my 3.5 for that.
I'll definitely need to watch it again. I'm sure we'll probably just like watch a kill count or something.
I'm not, listen.
If she ever wants to.
We have watched 3 horror movies in a row. I've had my fill. I'm done. I'm done.
I'll be watching it again because I just want to make sure.
Do we have any other ones on the list? I hope not.
We have Trap.
Oh, that's fine.
That's
good.
not scary.
That's a thriller.
Yeah. Okay, so that is our review of Longlegs. Definitely go see it. Oh, is it worth the theater? Or would you just wait for streaming?
I would say to get the full effect, you should watch it in the theater.
We had a good time in the theater.
Yeah.
Our theater was very small. We had like the last screen in the back because Despicable Me has eaten literally everybody's lunch this weekend.
Because we were in a small screen, we were pretty close to the screen.
It was very intimate.
It was,
it was almost like sitting in a home theater.
Right. We were like we weren't, our row wasn't close to the screen, but it felt like we were close to the screen because it was so big. And that added to like the effect.
The spooky parts, everybody was spooked together. The funny parts, everybody was laughing together.
Busting out that song.
It was a good time. So this was a good theater experience. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So that is our review for Longlegs. Absolutely go check it out and let us know your thoughts. What are we watching next week?
It's Twister's time.
It's coming.
It's getting good reviews. It is getting good reviews from
at 80, I believe, on Rotten Tomatoes. The
critics seem to be liking it. So we will be going to go see this on Friday. I wanted to see an AMC Prime, but
listen,
I don't understand why they don't ever put no movies that are worth the Prime experience in there. But I ain't got nothing to do with that AMC. That's y'all money.
Twister 1 is one of my all-time favorite movies.
It's good. We just watched it recently.
It's one of the movies that made us up there with like Jurassic Park, Lost World.
Oh yeah, for sure. For sure.
It can literally be whatever it wants to be. Twister is going to be amazing. I'm going to have a great time. I love, like, it's weird to say, but out of like the list of natural disasters, Twisters are like my favorite to like look at documentaries and stuff about.
Oh, I was about to say, I didn't know where you was going with that. I'm like, your favorite.
I love tornado documentaries.
Yeah.
Tornado chases. I like looking at like tornado footage. It's just very interesting just to see like how
Netflix has a really good series on natural disasters, and I think the first episode, I'm putting in show notes. The first episode is, or maybe not the first, one of the episodes is on tornadoes, and it is I've watched the docuseries twice, all the way through, and the tornado episode is one of my favorites.
I love like looking at tornado stuff and like the science behind it, so it's gonna be amazing. I mean, come on. Like Moonfall. I liked Moonfall. And it was like totally ridiculous.
Listen.
But I mean.
We're not here for plot.
We're not here for plot.
I don't care nothing about Glenn Powell, Daisy Edgar Jones, Anthony. Listen,
y'all.
We're
here to watch humans figure out how they're going to fight Mother Nature.
Hello. And we typically on Mother Nature's side.
Yes, right. Exactly.
So bring on the Twisters.
All right. So that is our episode. You want to take us out?
Thanks for listening. If you like our show, please give it a share. You can leave us a review on Apple Podcasts or on our website, vaguelynerdypodcast.com, where you can also leave us a voice message that we can play on our show if it is friendly and friendly only. You can also follow us on Twitter at vaguelynerdypod or on IG at vaguelynerdypodcast. And if email is your choice of contact, you can email us at vaguelynerdypodcast@gmail.com.
Until next time.
Peace.
Bye.